The amateur game has always been a big part in our lives. It's always the topic of our conversations and it's constantly on our minds on a daily basis.
Although it's not at a professional level, the amateur game is a working class sport at a working class level. Players put their bodies on the line, lives on hold, and have worked their socks off to be the best they can be from the top to the bottom of the amateur game.
We live and breathe football, and the amateur game has given us our best years in football. Both of us have come to the end of our playing days and want to sit and speak to the legends of the game, legends in their world, to sit and listen about the careers and stories of the game we love.
Welcome to our podcast.
3 points, please.
Okay, today we have not a certain team legend, but a legend in the game. Definitely a legend in the game. A fellow who we know and played a little bit of schoolboy football with. One of the best players I've ever seen. I'm sure Nelson feels the same way. Today we have Git Barbour. Welcome, Git.
Thanks for the intro, Lewis.
Git, so as I was saying before, flat on the golf course now, the football
on the golf, yeah. Well, trying to get down on the handicap, like, you know what I mean?
The football's out the window, is it?
Yeah, I can't do anything now with the injuries, like, tried to play there with the 35s, not going to happen.
Are you missing it all?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I used to love football, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of the career. During the career, not so much, but at the end, definitely.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of playing for fun then. During it, you probably have a little bit, like, you have to do well, like, you know what I mean?
The pressure's on a bit harder in senior football, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that. At the start of senior football, I had that little thing where I didn't really care. And then when it progressed and you got into, say, the Ireland team and all, then you have to do well, like, and you have to keep up standards. No, not that I did, but I tried to, you know what I mean?
I'm sure a lot of people say different now, in fairness, but the way I used to watch it or play with you and all that, it doesn't look like you played with, you didn't care about one, like, it's the way you play free football.
Yeah,
like, it's
you know
just,
what? I will say, before the game, didn't prepare correctly, but if I cross the white line, the mindset's completely different, like,
yeah.
I played till,
Yeah.
like, I played
You left
fully,
everything
yeah,
out
I
there.
left everything out
Yeah.
there.
I think
Yeah.
So I never didn't play properly, like, you know what I mean?
I think you and Wayne Rooney probably the similar total what do you call it, street footballers, and that's the way you came across as well. Like,
You talking about the granny story?
yeah, that's always okay, we keep that for later on. But that's the way I always seen you as a total like street football, and like, you brought and like the things you done on the pitch, like you wouldn't even try that in training, and there's you going out.
Yeah, well, I'd say that, like, where I grew up was Fortnum, and our road was renowned for footballers. My mates, who were only born a few months apart, do you remember Johnny and Clarky used to play with you at Tolga? They were playing a year
that's
with
right,
so
yeah,
they were
yeah.
they're two of my best mates. Bubbles,
Yeah.
probably the best schoolboy footballer to play in Ireland.
Yeah.
Mick Foley, who was his older brother. At Delboy Ronan.
He was with Liverpool.
Liverpool, he signed
That's
for
right,
Liverpool.
yeah.
Delboy Ronan, he had trials at Nottingham Forest. Martin, I score goals, Millarney. He scored against yours last
No,
night.
he does, yeah. He's done something.
You know what? Is
Is this the ball they had
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
floor?
yeah.
Harmer, was it? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was brilliant back in the day. Boys.
Was
You
he?
wanna see
Yeah.
him.
He's not the same age as you.
There's not a month
I'm
apart.
sorry, Hammer. Don't take that next
yeah.
one I play against it.
Yeah, but the road itself, like,
This is all in one area, kid. Yeah.
So when we played, like,
That's
we
some
played
going, that,
proper
innit?
football, like, you know what I mean? Like, we used to play a game poles. So we used to, like, to score a goal was to knock it off the pole.
Yeah, we used to
But
know
we,
that.
like, slide tackling on them.
Yeah.
But the only way to finish a game was a tear up. There had to be, like, to be a fight at the end of it. And that's what street football was, like, you know what I mean?
You bring that determination into probably 11 side football as well. Obviously, some people kind of
100%,
use their head a little bit too much, but that's what. But passion is a good thing in football.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, I would think that the way that you play it on the street should be referenced to the pitch, like, you know.
Definitely.
I definitely think that I wouldn't play any other way.
That's what I was gonna say to you. Things that you used to do on the training ground,
I'd
you
have
used to
to
do
do
on
it.
the pitch.
Yeah, have
and
to do
I've never seen anybody be able to progress that on from a training pitch to do it on a game like the way you did, to be quite honest.
We done used to train up in Leisure Point on a bit of grass there, and obviously do a bit of five-side football about, and I was marking him. I remember Bear Camp done against Newcastle there, done a little touch to the side, spun around there. He does that against me. He was like, that's a fluke. Was he? Yeah. 5 minutes later, ball comes in, does it against me.
Okay.
You wouldn't thought I would have learned about it, but
Yeah, but that's the thing,
that's
like,
not about them.
Bring it on for the street. That's what you used to do, like, you know what I mean? All throughout the schoolboy years, that's what we used to, whatever we learned, just bring onto the pitch, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always a good little get out move to try and keep the ball. That's all I always thought, you know what I mean? So if you're gonna do, say, a drag back, remember Zidane used to practice that for ages. Next game you're gonna play, you're gonna have to do that, even if it's not on. Just try and do it just to see what it's like.
And then it doesn't work out. It just keep going and going and going.
That's
just keep trying to say it to the kids these days, but that's probably the fear comes into them then, like, giving the ball away and probably getting into trouble. Probably too much pressure from the parents or from the coaches. Like, so.
What is the kids like these days?
Yeah, it's just
they like us.
No.
You've obviously, just judging by that way you're at the saying, you're totally away from football.
Totally away from football.
Totally away.
Yeah, I have 3 girls, so just no.
There's no chance.
You get them into the football as well, no?
One of them actually plays for Peregrines now at the minute. She does camogie and grab. It's great for her, to be honest. Like, and it's a proper little community game, like, and she loves it. So I'm delighted for her for that. The other 2 girls are proper girlies, like, you know what I mean? Now she's a proper girlie as well, but she likes to do a little bit of sport, like.
Get stuck in, yeah.
So no interest in going and watching football, playing 5-a-side.
So I went to watch the 35s there. They beat Bosco's 4-1.
Mountfield.
Yeah. So I'd always try and watch the lads, like, and they're the lads that I grew up with as well. Like, so you have Buzz Bourne, Jim, Leslie, Martin Maloney, loads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're the lads that, like, you used to play with on the street. So we grew up all the way up, and that's why I kind of joined Mountfield at one of the stages, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just to get back and try and enjoy it. Exactly. You know what I mean? I just thought the time when I left the Leinster Senior League and went back to Mountfield was a good enough time. I wasn't liking it at that time. Go back, enjoy it. And then I actually got a call up to the Irish amateur team at that time.
Well, you were still playing with Mountfield?
Yeah. Now, how it happened, I don't know. Because I doubt Jerry Smith went to watch us. We were Division probably 1 Saturday.
Yeah.
So he's not going to watch us. We were bouncing teams 10, 12 nil, like, you know what I mean?
But you probably knew what sort of player you were.
You had before.
Now, what I'm going to guess, do you remember Jerry Davis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was his coach, yeah. Jerry's in charge now, do you know that?
Was he your coach at Tolka?
Yeah, Jerry had Jerry on the 17s at Tolka.
So we kind of knew Jerry from schoolboys as well, like, you know what I mean? What I'm guessing is Jerry Davis, they changed coaches there. I think Crawley was a coach before Danny Crowley.
Yeah.
Remember the Kane brothers?
Yeah, he was with Ballymun.
And then Jerry Davis took over, but Jerry Davis had a set way that he wanted to play, and he wanted to play a diamond. And I think he looked at a holding player, and he probably scanned, and he probably thought, I know he can do it because I watched him back in the day doing it, like. And I say that's how I got onto the Ireland team.
What old were you at that stage?
24, 25. Was I still young?
You went to Mountfield to kind of drop out.
Yeah,
to play with your mates,
just to enjoy it. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to enjoy football so much, but at that time I wasn't. But then I got the call to the Ireland team, so I was like,
did it reignite the fire then?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. No, did it reignite the fire? I got injured throughout the whole process.
So obviously you wanted to enjoy it, but obviously the injuries are kind of holding you back.
Oh yeah. I thought the body was was telling me there at that time. Now the weight didn't
24,
help. I'll be honest with you, Barry. I think from being, like, say, 3 years of age on the road to 24.
So you just said slow tackling going for the poles.
That's what we used to do. Like, you know, I mean, like when you're on the street.
But you felt injuries, niggles all the way up through your career.
And the weight didn't help.
Yeah.
Like I know the weight definitely didn't help. Like,
but didn't stop you from moving then, because the engine on you was unbelievable. Like.
Yeah, you were fast, powerful.
Yeah. Well, that's now you're talking about stages when I was around 19 or 20. That's when, say, we were in the AUL. You left us, did you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Probably that stage.
I was disappointed at that.
How did you felt? It went from downhill from there.
Yeah. So we had an unbelievable Wester team. Yeah. Now I'm gonna put this out on the table. Sheriff's the greatest junior team ever to play. Yeah.
Yes.
And everybody can agree on that. Like, there's no
two ways. Yeah.
About it. And the smashing players. Our Wester team, if we would have stayed together.
Yeah.
I say we would have had a good right ding dong off them.
But we said that in nearly every podcast that we've done, is that what the team just needed that little one trophy. Or
because when we went to senior football, remember Liam Donnelly?
Yeah.
Obviously Liam. He asked me what was I going to do. I think Dublin City and all them boys were coming in calling. I was like, nah,
21s.
Smart fingers up there.
Because I went away when I was younger. I didn't want to play football.
Yeah.
My ambition was gone. Like, from trying to get to a professional stage to where I was at that time. I was gone. Like I didn't want to play football at that time.
Do you think I always got that from you as well, Git?
Yeah.
Do you think because you didn't make it a professional, is that why you didn't take senior football as serious as
100%.
I always thought
100%.
that with you.
And those players that we played against that I say you went over to England with, and you thought when they came. Remember Alan Kinsley? You ever hear him from Ballymun?
Yeah, Alan Kinnock.
He would have been probably
Went to Leeds,
the
Kinnock,
best
didn't he?
schoolboy player. He and Bradshaw. I remember playing with Bradshaw. I went to United with Bradshaw, and he was quality. Steve Bradley, that's the manager of Shamrock Rovers. Him and Bradshaw, Killian Brennan, all them, they were a year older than us. But I remember he came back. We played against Ballymun. It would have been one of my first years there. He came back from Leeds. He played, and I was like, "What's the story?" And he was brilliant that game. He just said, "I can't do this."
Yeah.
And just left.
You know, was gone.
Yeah, he never actually kicked on Kinnock then.
Even players that come home from England and go to the League of Ireland, I always thought to myself, they're not going to last there. You know what I mean? Because League of Ireland there was a lot of hookers and squeezers, weren't there? Like, they didn't want to play football correctly. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And you could see them. I watched Mika. I went to watch Mika with St. Pat's, and Mika used to go up 2 yards and say, "Get the ball, mate. I'll just play a little 1-2 with you." And they just used to hook the ball around the corner and squeeze up. Yeah. And you could just see Mika like on the pitch just going.
Bypass the midfield there. Big man gets pick up second balls off the centre forward.
Here, you know what I mean? There's no point to you playing if you're just going to be missed out. I know you're probably making a few quid, but I could see him just going down, and eventually just left. Then, you know what I mean?
It wasn't a place for footballers. The League of Ireland back then.
Definitely wasn't. But either was senior football. And senior football changed a lot when we got there.
Yeah.
Like when
there was something rugged about it before we all kind of came into it. Wasn't it rough? And
it was a
Sunday morning mucked up to the eyeballs. There was nothing kind of nothing flary about it, like with brilliant setups or carpet pitches or where you're training on a beautiful astro. None of that was around then.
Definitely not. But they did have serious teams.
Yes.
I remember when we came from the West of schoolboys to the West of seniors, like probably one or two players. I think with myself and Crockett stayed on with the West of seniors. And we got a few games, and I remember playing against Dougie Dolan.
Yeah. Dougie.
So Robbie's put me up top. Just probably I didn't have the build for the midfield, and he just kicked me all over the place. And I just thought to myself, I turned around and all this. I think I was making threats and all against him. Then I think I sprinted off after the pitch. Behind James O'Rourke. James will get him. But not that James was going to do it against him either. Need an army against that fella, you know. But it was a different mentality.
Welcome to senior football.
To senior football. And I remember James, because James used to drop me over, and James used to say, "Listen, they can kick you all day. Just do what you can do, and you will become a better player." Like, so I always just kind of took that.
I'm sure you weren't the force young that they couldn't come up against him and made threats against him because of the way he played.
Look, I had a few ding-dongs off myself.
He was a good player.
He was a really good player.
He played in that Oscar team that we won.
The Oscar trainer.
Yeah, so that was a big thing as well. That was a big thing.
Yeah, you're well representative.
Yeah. No, I think we got asked out to that, and I think we declined it numbers of times.
2006 it was, because we put a picture up on the Twitter page there, and you had lovely hairdo at that stage. I think I turned the Beckham stage. I don't know what stage you're going to at that stage.
It was well straightened out.
I think the straightener was in his back pocket actually.
Before the game was straightened out. After the game was all curly.
So we'll take it back, get with me.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll take it back to the old schoolboy days, yeah?
Where to start?
Yeah, well, I think obviously playing from the street. My dad was part of the Mocktis committee, so I think myself and Bubbles used to go up to Mocktis. Now Mocktis is about 15-20 minutes away from us walk. We used to walk through a farmer field at the age of 6 to get there. Like, my dad wouldn't bring us. We'd walk up there
straight across the field.
Yeah, straight across the field, through the cows, straight up into Porterstown. You Fingers lads know about that now, don't you? That was not. I never thought you was left their fingers border until Mocktis came along. What?
That wasn't.
Crockett's not here.
Is he not? Crockett or Carlo or Spanky. Spanky was at the start. Yeah, but we played for Mocktis. We used to play for a fella called Dennis Moore. Dennis is well renowned around the area. Lovely man, unbelievable. And I think we played like 2 years above our age, me and Bubbles, but we were able for it. And then I think a thing happened where Mocktis said, "We want to drag us back." And I don't think I was happy with that, you know what I mean?
To play your own age.
Yeah, I don't think I was happy with that. And I know Bubbles went back and he played with, say, Johnny off my road, Rob McCabe. He's one of my other best friends. And He was scoring 100 goals at the time, I think. They had the best team in Ireland at that age. And I tell you why, because they played Cherry Water at Moctus. So they won the Brentford by miles, under 8 say, and they played Cherry Orchard. Just, I think it was the top 2, like they were in a different league, and they beat Cherry Orchard. They were quite good at that stage, like, you know what I mean?
So they were in the DSL, obviously, and then it was kind of...
I say the South Dublin. I say those. I don't know if the DSL was on at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What league did you go in at the start?
We were DDSL.
DDSL, yeah.
DDSL, we would have been.
Was it? Yeah, straight from the start.
Yeah. Now it was just DDSL in Brentford, wasn't it? Really,
I think
back
so,
then.
yeah.
Now it could have been. There could have been a South, but the likes of Cherry Orchard and all were always in our leagues. I think growing up.
Were they? Yeah.
DDSL.
It was DDSL. So I would have joined in Verona then, under 10s. Declan Rock. Did you ever hear Declan Rock?
No.
He used to be a home farm. He was a home farm coach, but we ended up turning Moctus over. So it was always a bit of rivalry between like myself and the boys, like. But at that time, then a fella came into our lives, and he changed football completely in Blanchardstown. 2 things, like, he completely different to anybody else you ever met. He was black, and he was English. So he came onto the street, like, you know, and he kept doing all these skills, and he would show us all the skills, and us being like, we were mesmerised by the fella, you know what I mean? And then he set up a team 3 years older than us. Mick R's team that was. So he had Mick R. Foley, Sean Thornton, Stale McCann, Martin Mallarney. So we used to go up and watch them all the time. The football that they used to play. So it wasn't the typical Irish football where it beats to score goals. It was possession based, like, you know what I mean? We used to study Barcelona. So we used to do a crossover. Remember, we used to play against yours?
Yeah.
And if we crossed over, say I was playing in the middle with Padge and Bubbles, I'd cross over.
Some partnership there, them three.
Yeah. No, but that was the 3 that we.
Fraser,
that was Stella.
We're Heartstown.
Right.
So that's he created the Heartstown team, but he used to have Mick R. Foley playing in Padge's position. He used to have Sean Thornton, and he used to have Steve McCann, and them boys were unbelievable. But you used to watch them, and what you used to do was cross over, and you used to call out Barso. That means that another player would take her off. But we used to do little things like that all the time, like. But it was possession plays. We used to be beating teams, say 3-4-0, and we weren't allowed to score then. So, you know, we'd have to turn out and keep the ball, and that's how you got to know how to keep the ball, basically.
And be comfortable in possession as well, though, because a lot of kids would get the ball, go forward, have a shot or something. But if you get the ball in the hole or something, that sums up your arse.
Yeah.
For a kid that age to hold the ball, turn and play it back, or look for space. Like it's unheard of back then, you know.
Did you ever remember Padge playing?
Yeah.
Did you see him playing like say years ago?
Not in his later years, but as a professional, no.
He played for Heartstown there recently, yeah.
Right.
And he plays the exact same way he did when he was with us. He plays now.
Really.
And when I used to watch him, say with Falkirk or with Shamrock Rovers, he played the exact same. He used to outside hook, inside hook to turn away from players. Now he'd hold on to the player, but he'd keep the ball in his possession.
Yeah.
And then he just pass. So
obviously, man had a big impact on him.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Him himself is the biggest influence in football that what we had.
What was his name? Say
Peter Cano. They probably tried to poach you, did he?
Oh, that's the one that down Stella, was it?
Yeah.
Obviously, I think probably everyone else in the league then as well. Everybody. Yeah.
Well, that's what his main game was, because we used to get to we didn't know where the Thorntons came out of. Did you ever hear about Sean Thornton? No?
Yeah.
Sean signed for Sunderland for a million and played in the Premier League a few times.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
Remember you used to have the blondie hair, the dyed blonde hair now?
He was a major, like, back in the day. He was class.
I don't know, Peter started off out in Blanchardstown with you. I just thought you just came into Stella Maris.
No, we had family out in Blanchardstown, and he used to come up to our road and do little skills and tricks, and then he created the team above us, which was Mick Edge, and then he created their team. So their team was made up of a lot of, like, say, Ashy, Evo. Do you know what actually happened around that age? Do you remember the years change from August to January? That killed me. Yeah. That killed me.
That actually saved me. In January.
I just stepped back down.
I was your age, Nelson.
Yeah.
And
you stepped down, I stepped down, I was killed.
They went on and I stayed back, so it was beneficial for me, because I'd have been physically wise, I'd have been lost with Nelson and all that.
I thought I was physically lost at that time. But to be fair to Pete, he kept Heartstown going. I don't think it was because of me. I think he probably found more players their age. But Padge and Bubbles could step down. And we used to have a fella called Ian Croft
Crofty,
was 2
yeah.
years.
Crofty played for Verona and all, yeah.
Yeah, Crofty. That's it. Yeah.
Bubbles and Padge played over their age and their own age, didn't they?
Yeah, so it's for I think then after, like, say the Hearthstone, we done okay in the DDSL. I don't even know how we got into the DDSL, but it was around that time that we started getting trials. I know how the first trial came about. We were over in England at a tournament with the older age. Kev Thornton used to play for us. Remember Kev? He would have been your age. He would have been with Belvo.
Redhead fella?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we went to a tournament with the older age over to England, and Pete, talking the way he does, he got us into a little small games with crew, and myself and Kev were on a team, and we bashed everybody. And then a fella called Dave Bushell, who was a United scout at that time, he was there watching, and then straight after that, then we got trials with United.
There's your first ever trials with United?
First ever trials with United proper. So they used to send a little document out, little United stamp to say, Chris Barbour's got trials. We like they see him over here, say October or whatever, you know what I mean? But that was some experience. Like. So
when you trials followed after that, then through your schoolboys?
So I went to Liverpool after that. But I'll tell you how that worked out. We went to Dallas Cup.
Who are you playing with now?
United.
No, who are you playing? Hearthstone still.
Yeah, so we're still only under 12s here. Yeah. And we're going over to trials, say, Halloween, Christmas, Easter. So
that's what it was like back then.
Yeah, constantly going over. There were sneaky trials as well.
Yeah.
I remember Bubbles used to come to me on Friday and say, I have to fly away tonight. And you're like, who are you playing tomorrow? I don't know, Everton or whatever. You're like, for fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean? You used to think,
but that's like normality for you, so yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like normality for him at one stage because it happened so often. Like.
For him, it was normality because he was that high of a level, like, you know what I mean? He was that good. So him, he used to get dragged out of school a lot, I say. But yeah, we went to the Dallas Cup and we won it over there. Paul McGuinness, who was he was their manager at the time. But we had an incident with a player over there. I thought he was kind of bullying us. He called Kev like a paddy cunt, like. I had a little physical, but I thought that was left over there, you know what I mean? But I didn't. When I got home, we heard Pete was leaving. He was going to Stella nicked him. Remember Tom Cowner?
Yeah.
Say Tom probably paid him a few quid, like, you know what I mean? And he probably paid him to say, bring all your players down here. And I think, actually, if you look, when I go through all the players that Pete had at Stella Maris, they're all the top amateur players, believe it or not, you know what I mean? But at that time, Pete was training, and I think we had a little bit of a ding dong where he was messing about on the ball. And I just went and just snapped him, like, you know what I mean? And he turned around and he says, this is why United won't take it back over, because you can't keep hitting people. I was like, how do you find out about this? But believe it or not, the next week I went to Liverpool on trial. And who did I play? United. Yeah. So I went into the dressing rooms, only a little kid, like, and Paul McGuinness says, I didn't expect you over. And I was thinking, of course you wouldn't. You weren't going to invite me back over, but I'm playing for Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm not playing.
He says, no, you can't play for Liverpool. I said, I can't play for Liverpool. No, the trialists. Now I'm talking to a man like this, you know what I mean? And he says, all right then. So the fella that I had a little altercation with, the ball bounced in between us, innit? And I thought, thank God, here we go. Boom, hear him.
Kane Halland-esque.
McGuinness shouting at me. And then my mate Mika was playing for Liverpool at the time, and he's up in a stand with Steve Highway. And Steve Highway's told Mika to tell him to calm down, like, you know.
Really?
Yeah, but they liked that.
Yeah.
Because the manager pulled me to the side and was like, "We're probably like, you got stuck in, like, you have something about you, yeah." Because they didn't really do that in England. When we went to England at the start, I used to think the Irish players were a little bit better than them, like, you know what I mean? Because they didn't have that little bit of street about them, like, you know what I mean?
They were in the academies very early, weren't they?
100%. Yeah. So we had that where we were aggressive and all, you know what I mean? So yeah, we done Liverpool. Used to have a fella come out to the house all the time, Noel McCabe. Noel is renowned scout. He scouted Roy Keane. Used to have me dad mesmerised by the stories, like. So he got, remember Keane said he wasn't really getting over, but it was him that got Keane over to Nottingham Forest. So Liverpool must have nicked him in the meantime, and he used to come out to the house all the time, like, and just talk to us about football. And he used to have like
sit down and sit dad used to love it.
My dad was a big Liverpool fan. Yeah. And then at that time, then I don't know, I had a couple of influences. And obviously Pete was going to Stella. Now I didn't like that. I felt that he kind of
betrayed us in a way.
Yeah, well, I felt that. But he's obviously got Bubbles and Padge, and they were probably the main stars, and they were, to be honest, like, you know what I mean? But I kind of got told, like, Vincent Butler's at Belleville, you have a good chance of getting in the Ireland team if you go to Belleville. So I went to Belvedere that year, and their team was
from Hartstown.
Yeah. I think Belvedere actually won that league. So we were in the DDSL, we came mid-table, but that Hartstown team had to disperse then kind of after Pete left, and it was kind of like, so he's left us there to Tallaght. Now, I'll be honest with you, I think I made the wrong choice. I think I should have stayed with Pete and progressing a little bit further. And that's one of the regrets that I have, like, you know what I mean? I didn't do that. I did end up going back to him in years to come, but I didn't do it at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of stopped me development.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You think you could have went where Padge and Bubbles went?
No. They listen, they are a different level. You know that. Like, I think they played like Bubbles. Like, them boys played for the school. They won the All-Ireland for the schools and all. They don't talk about it in Blanchetown that much. Like Bubbles, Padge, Johnny, Clarkey, Mark Sheridan, they were all in the same year and they won the All-Ireland. Now the school,
that's right. Mark was at Belleville.
Yeah, they still wouldn't give the school. They give them a bit of recognition for Blakestown, like, but like I always thought that they should have been getting more than what they were getting. Like, you know what I mean?
You were saying these boys are a different level there, but when we were looking at you, well, playing football, I always think that this fella's on a different level. And anyone that we talk about, like, say, Git Barbour's on a different level to us.
No,
so, but I think you just had to give yourself a bit more credit than.
No, I don't think so, because I'll tell you why. When I was playing for Belvedere, I didn't get in. I wasn't a regular. They had Andy Cousins and Richie Ryan in the middle. Richie, I think, signed for Sunderland. Andy, I think, is doing agent now, is he?
Yeah,
I'm too sure.
Is he? Yeah, but he signed for Leeds, and they had Eddie Case signed for Leeds, Derek Tyrrell signed for Leeds. Yeah, they had loads. Quiggo was playing up top, Mark Quigley, and Snowy. Do you remember Snowy? Gary Mulligan.
Yeah.
He signed for an English club as well. So out of all them, like 11, pretty good team, like, you know what I mean. But I wasn't. I was still that. I thought I was that little bit small. But when I used to go out to England, I used to drop the age because they were still August to August. Right. So I used to prefer playing in England than I did in Ireland. I used to think it was harder, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Sheffield United came up after that. Do you
I heard that we got very close to the sign.
Yeah, signed
pre-forms.
Yeah.
How did that go?
How did the Sheffield United?
Did you have an incident over in Sheffield United?
No. Well, the thing was, I thought I was loved by the first two coaches, who were Steve Miles and Russell Slade, and then Steve Bruce was the manager, and they switched. Now, when they switched managers, like,
format changes to the whole.
I just felt I wasn't as loved, and that's kind of when you're not as, like, I feel like I look back and I was thinking about this podcast, and I was always thinking, like, when I had Liam and Robbie, I felt like, they protect me, they love me, you know what I mean? I think I needed that little bit.
Yeah, as a player, you needed that from the manager. Yeah. And it might sound dramatic.
If it feels needy.
No,
it
might sound like that. But
yeah.
we spoke with Nelson, with Daz and Crockett, and didn't we say that when we spoke with them, that, like, some players need, like Daz said, I needed, like, someone to come to me and say, you're playing really well, just do this.
I did.
He needed that arm around the shoulder sometimes, and I think if you're a manager, I think you have to treat certain players differently. If a player is good enough and they need the arm around the shoulder,
but Liam Donnelly is the best at that.
Liam was the brilliant, the man at it.
Did you go on trials, Nelson? No. It's sure.
It's close. I think it was the All-Ireland final day against Joey's. I injured my ankle.
Was it Duncan?
Just
Crockett, was it?
Did Crockett go, did he?
Yeah, Crockett went to City.
Yeah, and Daz went as well.
Daz as well, yeah.
I was close to, but I got injured in the final, and nothing came about it.
But you would think trials is teams go out and watch it and then pick it out. That didn't happen to me with Sheffield United.
No.
So the scout that lived around my way, his son played for Mick's team. Tommy Brown, he was a very good player as well, and he signed for Sheffield United. But his dad was the scout, and he was going out to scout another fellow off my road, Carl McGettrick, over, and he was playing for my dad's team, Consilia United, and we used to make up a little pitch and putt course across in the Millennium. So he has the Steve Miles, who is the academy. Well, it wasn't academy; they were called the School of Excellence at the time. Sheffield United are over, and I'm there swinging a golf club. And Tommy says, "This is Chris here." He went on thing at trials, and that's how I got over to Sheffield United play, wasn't it?
From swinging a golf club.
From swinging a golf club. And now look what I'm doing. I'm still not swinging properly.
Went a full circle.
Yeah.
You're playing that long.
Yeah. Still a handicap of about 45. You know what I mean? But yeah, I went over. That summer I went over, so after the Belvedere summer, I went over, and I think I stayed about 8 to 10 weeks out of the summer. I used to stay at long periods of the time. I think my dad was happy to keep me away from being in Fortland side. Now Fortland, great place, great neighbours, everything. I love that place.
Just too many things to get.
More distractions being at home, isn't it?
Yeah, but exactly.
How would you get on that? Oh, obviously it sounds like you've done well over there. Like, but you were you in digs with a family or?
Yeah, so the digs are brilliant over there. At United, you stayed at a hotel. Forget the name of the hotel. Can people comment on this? Because I'd love to know the name of the hotel.
Yeah.
Because we stayed at the hotel.
So if anyone knows the name of the hotel, get it was
up. Right across the way from Granada Studios. You know what I mean? So you used to be able to get up in the morning, look at Granada Studios. So you used to give you a bus. So you used to have the week set up, like a little schedule of the week. Liverpool was something similar. Liverpool used to kind of get you over for the weekend. So I used to stay with Norman Cave. Used to organise. So I used to go over to a fella called Jim Aspinall, and he was the main Liverpool scout. He got Robbie Fowler, Steve McManaman, and I used to stay with his daughter, I think, in close enough to Brookside. And that was great because he used to have a little family. They used to have a little kid and it was grand. And then at Sheffield United, used to go over and there was digs and there was about 8 or 10 people. So I'd say half Irish, half English, and I was some crack boys.
So see the 8 to 10 weeks they were over there.
Yeah.
Was that just Swiss Sheffield, or was it
just Swiss Sheffield?
And you having some crack over there?
Yeah. So I came over and I was thinking to myself, look, I'm over on Monday here. I wonder when my age group is trained, because I was only on the 12,
What age
14s.
group is it? Yeah, 12, 13s at this time.
Yeah, I used to train with, say, the 15s and 16s, and at the time then you had in-air digs as well. You had Phil Jagielka, and I used to look at this fella and I used to think, this fella's some player, man. Unbelievable. Yeah. And he kind of had what I thought I could progress into, like he had, like, he could head and he's good in the tackle, he could pass the ball. So I kind of looked at this fella and thought, this is the way that I wanted to make moves, like, you know what I mean? I remember the first game I played for Sheffield United, we played Leeds, and I remember the manager coming up to me and saying that, listen, you're playing midfield, blah blah blah. He says, this fella has an English skill cap or whatever. Like, Leeds were a big, like, Sheffield United Leeds are Yorkshire derby, and I thought, okay. So I don't know what they expected out of me, but I remember I controlled the game, kind of done very well. We beat them 3-1, and I think that it just flowed from there. Then, you know what I mean. So the School of Excellence manager, he kind of thought, like, this fella's good enough. Done the whole summer there, and then kept doing trials. I didn't really want to go anywhere because I loved it there so much.
Loved Sheffield United.
Oh man, it was brilliant. Yeah. You want to see it, Al. Just like the crack that you had having the digs. It wasn't the same as Liverpool. If you felt something, you felt some sort of connection with like I want to be here. The thing with Liverpool is that I looked and I saw me mate say Mika, and they used to have other players, and they had going to be very, very difficult to get in there. With Sheffield United, I was sort of pat. Yeah. You know, that pat then ended up being closed out, and that kind of. That's what it was, and you know what I mean. Yeah. But for you at that age though, to be over there and to spend that too much time with your family and everything else, that's a headstrong person, like, so you had to have that. At that year, loved it because they were there. Next year they were still there, and I spent the whole lot of my summer holidays over there. It was a good 3 months. And that at the end of that year, I got homesick. Really? At the last stage, I said, I should have gone home earlier, because I thought to myself, like, I was only probably 14. And I spent 3 months over there, and it was hard. Like, I don't know. I just. What was hard? Was it anything to do with physically wise, or was it just mentally with your mind of being homesick? A couple of incidents happened. Like, I'll give you one. We played Oldham, and I got knocked in the eye, and big black eye. Had to go to the hospital. They left me in the hospital for the night. On your own. On my own. No, at that age, that's when you need your mobile parents. Phones. No mobile phones, nothing like that. Now, Tommy Brown came into me, and Tommy Brown, like, he to be fair to him, he really helped me through that. But then the next time, I got out and I was back training within a week, and I was playing with the YTSs, and I got crunched off one of them because I kind of done well against them. And he thought I was taking the piss out of him, and he crunched, and I remember, like, tears welling up, like, you know what I mean, and I thought, oh, I fucking hate this now, you know what I mean? It felt like I was going into work then, and that's where I thought it changed like a little bit. At that young age as well. Yeah, confidence then was like, the next time I went over, managers changed, and I went to play for my own age group, which was a very, very good team. Billy Sharp played up top. He was excellent, unbelievable. The two midfielders were unbelievable, but they didn't play us. And I always used to think, if you're coming over from Ireland, you have to play
straight away.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, and I didn't want to ask the manager or anything like that. And he didn't really say anything. He didn't really know me. I didn't really know him. And I just felt there, that's where
he probably had his own little players there.
Because it's easier for them to get the English lads again back down. Do you know what I mean? Where if they're not going to play you or give you 10-15 minutes, they're not going to get you for another year. Do you know what I mean? Another 6 months.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted to show what I had, and I didn't get. Like, I got 45 minutes. I think we played Tranmere, and I think it was horrible that game. I just from the start to the finish of that game, I just felt like, what am I doing over here? If they're not even going to play me, like, and that then kind of played on my head a lot. And at that time, I was actually with Stella. I've gone from Belvo to Home Farm. I won the league at Belvo, won the league at Home Farm. We had a very good team. Piersey was at the back. Gap Pierce, yeah. Yeah, right back.
Went to Blackburn. Gap Pierce, didn't he?
Back in Captain Sluggo,
Ashley got me down there to home Farm. Ashley, Gap Pierce, left back, I'm not too sure. There was myself and Sean in the middle, and Castle. Remember David Cassie? He only came in front. Very good. He was excellent. He was unbelievable that year. And we won the league that year, surprisingly, because you were playing teams like Belvedere, who still had the players. Cherry Orchard had Willow, Gatesy.
That's right,
Ian Marr, Clark and Gold. But
Murphy, when I was in play for
Baz played for Stella, I think. Baz Doyle, you're talking about?
No, didn't remember the chap that used to play up top for them.
He was a monster back in the day, Barry Doyle.
Yeah. When Barry went to everyone in England, didn't he?
Yeah, when we went to when we were with Hearthstone, he played for Home Farm, and what he used to do was try and beat everybody and score. Yeah. He used to try and mill him over.
He was physically, wasn't he advanced than everybody, Doyle, or early doors. He was quick and.
I think then he went to Stella kind of to get it, like, he saw what Pete was doing. He thought, I'll have a piece of that, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, at that time with Sheffield United, I've gone to Stella. And Tom
back with Pete, back to Pete.
And I always regret them 2 years. Even though I won the 2 leagues, got to the semi-finals of the All-Irelands, I always regretted not staying with Pete. Because I just think Pete would have... Probably just
his culture was different than the Irish, because Irish culture was exactly going through the same stage, because they clowns of each other.
That's all, 4-4-2.
But he was just, exactly.
Yeah, we used to play a 3-5-2, like, you know what I mean?
And you said crossing over and everything else.
Yeah, so we used to play little patterns of football, so that's what you used to call it. Like, so if you ever watch, like, say, Guardiola's team, it's all positional based. And his was a lot of positional based, so you would have to be in certain positions to receive the ball for third man running or something like that. Yeah. Or he'd whip you off the pitch, like, you know what I mean? So everything that we used to do was patterns of football all around the pitch, like, and to
be honest with you, like, when we were younger, we never heard of patterns.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
so that's the FA, it was just clowns of each other. Yeah, that's all it was. You go off this book or you go off this playbook, and that's all you do. Yeah. So no one thinks outside the box if you do, because then you're like, yeah, listen, we get someone else in there for you.
Yeah, so like, I kind of regret not going with him. But I went to Stella at that time, and we had our Stella team was unbelievable. Was Cosgrove in goal. He was the Iron goalkeeper at the time. Right back, I think I got Piercey over from Home Farm. He was an animal.
Really?
Yeah, Stale Conley, Git Danes, some captain. And left full was Kev Cronin. Unbelievable. He signed for Leeds. And then you had Bubbles, myself, Pajo. I think Darren Ray, who is Al Ray's brother. Ray. Yeah, his brother, he played. We used to have a little fella called Keith Madden.
Did you have
Did you
send
him
the ball here? Keith Madden actually ended up at Bangor. I played against him at Bangor with Tolkien a while back, and I only realised, I said to myself, geez, that's Keith Madden they used to play for Stella.
Like, he kind of dropped out of the game as well at the time, like, but he was unbelievable. And then we had Scullier, David Scully, and he was some crack as well. He's a good lad, like, you know what I mean? He was up top, and there was a few others, like, if I forget the name, sorry about that. But yeah, there was some team, like, we just used to pass the ball, like, you know what I mean?
He ruffled a few feathers though, Pete, didn't he?
Oh yeah. He used to drop into people's houses and say...
There's a big commotion going around, like, yeah.
Well, I remember being around on Kappa Drive, and I think Crockett was obviously at the corner and left it, and
he wouldn't
someone
let that
was
go,
like, who's that going into Crockett's house? And it's this big tall black guy, and someone says that's P from Stella Maris. Yeah. So that was my force in
but he had no barrier where he'd go and try and get a player. But if he saw a player, he would let you know, and you felt good about it. Like, he'd be able to tell you where you could improve or where you couldn't. That he was a very good coach, to be fair to him.
Like Limo Donnelly a little bit.
Yeah, no, it was. Do you know who else was a good coach? Remember Jay
Dunham.
Yeah. But yeah, we went through that Stella Maris thing. Tom Kavanagh then, like, I think I kind of went to Tom and said, listen, I don't want to go to England again. And he says, try Bolton. Went off to Bolton Wanderers. Boys, like,
when you're 15, 16s now,
15s
so,
or 16s,
so that's the kind of drinking age, was it? Or
no, but
It's crunch time.
Bolton, technically, they weren't there. They weren't great players. So you were probably one of the better players that was actually playing. But the problem was, I used to stay in a digs, and it was just me and a granny kind of.
Is this where the Rooney story comes into it, is it?
Yeah, no, nothing like that. But basically, you used to go train at 10 o'clock in the morning, get picked up in a bus, and say dropped off at 1. And I used to just sit up in the room.
That was it.
Traumatized that. I thought the plane was going to crash on the way home. And I was that bad, right? I rang me dad. I think he went into the neighbours for the phone. Like,
Yeah.
And he then got me Clarky in, and Clarky was saying, listen, like, nobody else does this. Like, you need to understand, this can, like, make it in
Yeah,
future.
there's an opportunity.
And I was like, Clarky, I can't do this, man. Can't do this. This is a killer. I was like, say 3 or 4 days into it, where I was just sitting up in the room and doing absolutely. There is hardship over there. So if you were to make it, I would say a lot of it, well, most of it is talent. A lot of it is luck, and then mental. You need to have mentality at the highest. So whoever makes it, make sure you know them 3 boys. Now, luck doesn't have to play a factor, because like this.
If you're good enough, if you're good enough, pass you.
But the other 2 is massive in it. Like, you know what I mean?
There's a lot of kids that have went over recently, and before the whole Brexit stuff, and the parents, the whole family's moved over with them as well. Just giving that extra chance.
I would think that. I think my dad, I think he wanted to do that with Sheffield. We talked about skills, that only one part of it. I think they came over with a document to say, listen, do you want to sign? They gave me the whatever, like the contract. And I think he was like, can he go now? And he was all for it, but my mum she didn't even want me to play football. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Didn't want you to go. Wanted you to go, but didn't want you to go.
Yeah, but if you think about it, he's 14. Like, like I have a daughter 14, and if she's saying I'm moving away, you're like, there's not a hope. You can't even brush your teeth. You know what I mean? No, but it'd be something like that. I look at my daughter and I think, she's like, you would never be able to do what we done. Like, you know what I mean? That.
No,
like,
definitely not at this age.
It was definitely, you needed a mentality to say succeed, like, you know what I mean?
So the Trolls are all over them, don't we? And you're back based in Northern.
Playing with Stella. I think we got beaten by Ewes in Sun Drive for the league that year. I don't know how you beat us, but you beat us from
the because we're a fucking better team.
Under 16s Premier that wasn't it?
How much you got the ref that day? Yeah, under 16 Premier, that's what it was.
Well, listen, as I said, you were asking to go on trials, and did anyone from to go on trials? We beat you there, and I know you said it in the other podcast there. No, one was went on trial and half of yours boys went away. And that's
Skip Deans actually went away after
the derby,
that.
But I'm gonna say this to you again. Trials was not based on footballs over here. Definitely, Tom Kavanagh told me a story, and it was a brilliant story. He told me one story before. I'm not going to mention the player's name. I'm not going to mention the club, but brought a scout out, so he's able to call him up and say, "Here, listen, I have a player that you want in a certain position." Came out, and Tom Kavanagh told me that the player had a horrendous game, and he turned around and Tom's like to the scout, how would you think? And he says, "Oh yeah, very good. He was the best player on the pitch." And Tom was like, "What?" And it wasn't. He was terrible at that time. You know what I mean? And that's like, honestly, I think it was all word of mouth, and I think it was projected into scouts as well at them times.
Did they need the quota of players to get over to keep scouting for the club?
Yeah. The scout was always going to try and like
hope for the best that they get a few quid out of it if the player signs or something.
Yeah, like with Noel McCabe, like he used to come around to the house all the time and just talk. And he was a great and he used to give you good advice and all. He was a terrific scout, like, you know what I mean. Now some scouts you wouldn't even talk to, and you'd be just going over.
They just see you at the game. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but at that time, we had players coming up because obviously the lads went away at that time. We had Milady.
John was my age actually, yeah. And
Joey O'Brien
was my age, yeah.
Yeah, he went to Bolton, and ended up going to Bolton after me, yeah. We had Kinger, and do you know who? I always remember this. Pete used to look at a small lad on their teams called Sean Williams. Did you ever hear Sean Williams? No. Look him up. He's playing for Millwall. He's top player now at the minute, like in the championship and all.
Really, yeah.
But he used to say if he grows, he's going to be one of the best players. And he went over, got a good career over. Like,
yeah, very good, yeah.
But we used to have them players kind of coming up and backing us up at Stella. And Stella was a good club. Tom Kavanagh was a good man. Derek Moore, like, you know what I mean. But at that stage, then at 16, all the lads were gone away. Deansy was gone away. Gav was gone away to Blackburn. I think Deansy went to Derby. Everybody Padge went to Arsenal. So I was kind of breaking up at that time, and I just thought to myself, that's it, I'm finished with football. It's not. I'll be honest with you, what I thought is I'm gonna try and help Bubbles out, like, you know what I mean? Not help Bubbles out, don't put it that way, but I'm gonna support him. So I used to go over to Bubbles all the time. And you said,
brilliant,
like,
yeah. Because you knew how hard it would be from being on the trials.
And I think
Bubbles went to Bournemouth.
Yeah, well, I've never spoke about this to Bubbles.
This is actually, to be honest with you, this is actually it's a really nice insight to listening to this from schoolboy point of view, because we wouldn't have been exposed to this, Nelson. We'd have been around players like you get, and people going away, and other players going away, Doyle going away, Dunk going away, but we were never exposed to the details that Git is telling us here now. So it's actually a great insight to see and to get it out there for people to listen to, that this is how hard it is, this is how it goes, this is how it can progress to something, it can progress to nothing.
What can ruin a player don't make a player as well. Exactly, as you said, you're hoping the plane crashed or whatever. Like, you sit over there in the room on your own, like, so you could easily fold and say 100%.
Yeah, and there's always different adventures, like those, like, say all the lads that, like, say Willow, Yatey, Bubbles, Padge, Bradshaw,
a lot of
Killian,
players
Brendan,
went away that year, didn't they?
Loads, like, you know, all these good players. But then you had Wardy. Wardy used to play with me at home farm, and I don't know what happened in anyway, but you end up going
Stephen Ward
went
back to Port
Marnock. Went to Port Marnock, got 12, 13. So I thought that's it, Wardy's done. I think he actually thought
Wardy was a centre forward, wasn't he, with Port Marnock as a
he was a left forward with me at home.
Was he? And then he went centre forward with Port Marnock.
Yeah.
Do you know how
it was a GA thing? I think he taught GA football, and he stuck with the football, and then he ended up getting a move to Bowes, and then
that's right.
Different avenue.
We played for the Irish schools. We played for the Irish schools teams, and Wardy papers for the Irish schools team. And he's playing left wing. He was, I think, Gino Brazil, was it Gino? Watching it anyway, because we had one lads off playing for Bowes, and he came and watched it. Gave him the shout for
that's
the Bowes 21s. Yeah,
because I always thought how he done that. Like.
Yeah, picked him up from the Bowes 21s because he's playing left wing. He's done well in the tournament, because we won the whole tournament against Scotland, Wales, and Leeds, all that. He played fucking very well, scored a couple of goals. Brought him down to the 21s. Obviously progressed through the 21s into the first team. Bang, there you go. Like, and as you said, he's about a year before he's playing for Pomona.
Just a different avenue. The other one that I always remember, and you remember this because you were on the DDSL team with me, was Stephen Quinn.
Quinn,
Quinn, I played that.
Quinn was my age.
Your age.
So a year younger than yours.
Yeah. No, you have to understand your age group was unbelievable. I was talking to Bubbles there the other day about this, and on that Irish team, in the midfield, Padge, Bubbles and Stephen O'Donnell was the three, and then you had the likes of Daz O'Brien, Stephen Quinn. But the one fella Bubbles was always saying is he always thought there was something against the Cork boys, because Bubbles was best mates with Mulcahy, and the other Cork lad that didn't get into that team at that time was Stephen Ireland. So basically it's Bubbles' fault that Stephen Ireland ended up the way he was.
Over there,
he didn't like Ireland because of Bubbles. or Padge or Stephen O'Donnell, like, you know what I mean? But that's Bubbles used to say that Stephen Ireland was good enough, but Ireland didn't play him. And he said that was a little bit like the Cork lads, where McCarthy was very good, didn't really get chances. So that's why I'm saying
Daz actually said that he kept Stephen Ireland there over a couple of games with the Ireland team as well.
I always thought politics, big time politics. Like when I went to Belvedere, it was Vincent Butler's there. You could probably try and get you on the team. You know what I mean? There's always a little people are always trying to get little.
It's definitely in the game. 100%.
100%, big time. Like.
It's not going anywhere quick.
No,
it's probably getting worse.
I don't know what it's like now. Is it?
I think it's still the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an insight to schoolboy football at all, really. So I wouldn't know. But I don't think it's ever going to go away.
It's changed, is it?
I drinking obviously Martin's there.
You drink too?
Yeah. But I talked to the fella down there, and he says to me, and he isn't inside his jumpers on the team, and he's been shouted a couple of times on it. So I think he stepped away, but so it's still there.
It is still there. Yeah,
it's still there. Once you have a fucking organisation like the FUI, and they have, obviously, if you're coming from a team like Belvedere, whatever, you're always going to favour the Belvedere. You get a phone call when Manchester have this player, you're always going to favour that team that you have there.
I think that was a lot of the thing where Belvedere had an enormous amount of players on the Air Ireland group, but I think was Vincent Butler was linked with Belvo, and then I honestly think there was a lot of politics in Irish football, and it kind of used to do your head in like a little bit. Now I don't think I was good enough to play in that Ireland team, don't get me wrong, like, but I do think like the likes of.
Did you get any schoolboy caps?
No, we used to go to train. We used to always go train with the DDSL team and all. But you kind of knew, like, going up to the DDSL team, then you put on a team, say me, Nelson, Croc and all, put on a team to play against the boys that are going to line out. You know
you're
that
not getting
this
in
is
there.
team, like,
They just stay for the numbers.
Yeah.
That's it, you know.
When we have to pictures for the Premier under 16s, where did they lean to
they
then?
deserved. I think he was won the All-Ireland that one year. No, not that year, the year before. They just...
No, we got beaten in the finals by Joey's. That's
Yeah.
the year I done my ankle in,
Yeah.
And
so you were an up-and-coming team, and you could see that Wefter were getting players.
I think with Wefter back then, it was a matter of, they were kind of, your team, Nelson, I was the year younger. I used to play up sometimes, but I think they were kind of, they weren't advanced ability wise as, like, say, all the team that you were with you. So when all the players went away, I think that made a pathway.
I don't know, but I'll be honest with you, we used to play them at 12s and 13s,
Yeah,
and
used
to be a top game.
To get into winning the league, I mean.
I know what you mean.
No, we probably don't agree with it.
Under 13s.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
You know,
Yeah,
14s, 15s. So within 3 years apart, we got to 2 All-Ireland finals. Joey's beat us twice. 1-0, I think, and then it was 3-0.
Joey's were a good team.
Very good team there, but
yeah,
we got lads up from. That's how good Liam was at scouting and getting players in like yourself. He got Crocker. He went down to the Roscommon there and we played against
the country lads.
we played a team down there.
You used to have Jared Brennan playing
Jared,
Jared.
Remember you playing a match before and he
All-Ireland winner, isn't he?
Came straight from a Ghana match and the ball was in there and he was like, Jares, jumps up, catch the ball. Sorry, ref.
Didn't Jerry used to
pass it off?
he used to leave a match and go play a rugby match, and then he'd go play a Gaelic match. He'd have 3 or 4 games a weekend. He was a tough boy.
You always thought when we played West, I thought this is going to be tough. Sometimes you used to go into a game and think, okay, this is like, but every time you came out here, this was a tough game, like, you know what I
mean? That's because we are 3 footballers like ourselves.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So then after that year, when was it you went to Wefter?
Believe it or not, how I got to Wefter is I was working in Roger Stores at the time. I was a shelf packer, and Jay Donahue used to come in. So
Jay used to do the herbs, didn't he? He used to work for the herbs place. What was it?
Yeah, so
Schwartz or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was out the back and I was probably sweeping up or something like that, and I heard a little squeaky voice. Okay, what's the story? He says, so what are you doing next year? I said, listen, because at the end of that year, I was playing a little bit of senior football for my dad's team. My dad used to like kind of, he was a secretary of Clonsilla United, and they were in the AFL. But at the 16s, there was a bit of messing going on. So I used to play a game like with, say, Martin Donegan. His dad used to run the team, and Martin's only probably a year or 2 older than me. He used to put us 2 in the middle against a lot of, like, we used to play against Vianney boys and all. So I also thought after Stelmaris, I'm going to play senior football with my dad's team, or I'm going to play with my mates. Like I had no thing. I didn't want to, like, that was it. I was
no
finished.
Ambition to keep going.
No, football was gone. Football for me was like a killer. A nightmare. I used to hate it. I hated it at that time. I didn't even want to play 5-a-sides at that time. And then Jay came along and he's like, do you fancy going over to Wefter? I was like, I don't know, Jay. He says, do you like spices? I says, yeah, I like Caulfield. He says, here's a couple of spices. He says, come over for a training session. Yeah. And I remember coming over and obviously met Limo, and I knew obviously all yous from playing against us, and I remember doing the training session. The training session was Leo. I remember Limo doing the thing. Remember where you used to have to pat your head and rub your belly? Yeah. I still can't even do that now. I used to, you know.
Limo was great at bringing everybody all together, wasn't he? And doing little things. Remember the little song you used to do before you'd go out and play a game? What was it? Knowing me, knowing you.
Yeah.
Before a match, you'd go out.
So like, I just thought to myself, when I got over here, it was just fun. It was, and the training was good. It wasn't bad. And the other thing that I loved about Wefter that was different to Stelmaris is that we used to go to Cologne Road, and Fox used to have all the, I don't know if it was Foxy, but you used to have a Lucasade bottle beside all the jerseys. Everything was lined out. It was
a bit more professional,
Like with Stelmaris, you used to get changed inside of Albert College, like.
Yeah.
But when we went to the Wefter, I was thinking, Jesus Christ, this is similar to what? Like,
you should be getting,
everybody should be getting.
Say, like, representative sides were doing, like,
I think we were the only Premier side in Wefter at that stage, so we were kind of like the big team. You
got spoiled.
Yeah, there you go. But
you did get spoiled. But you were the best team.
You just won the league, so you wanted to get things kind of.
Yeah.
Remember your first game that we played at the Winter League? Belvo out there.
For their team.
Yeah, we got thumped 7-0.
No.
The years won the league.
Yeah, the years won the league.
Git would have been playing with Stella.
No, I mean the year after we were league champions.
Definitely.
And
Because Belvo were gone at that time. I think
Shelbourne. Swear to God, Daz O'Brien was there 7-0. I'll double check that now. But 7-0 we played.
Sure.
Yeah, out there. We weren't the white jerseys, the white Nikes.
I thought we were the best team in there.
We beat 7-0.
Oh, we beat Belvo 7-0.
No, they beat us.
No, definitely not.
100%.
I'm not having that.
First, Daz O'Brien left that year. The year we won it, he went over to Belvo.
No, Daz played with me in the middle.
We're having it wrong there. Cut that out, Ken, yeah?
No, if I'm, I don't know. Am I correct?
No,
or it could be incorrect.
No.
You came at under 17s.
It could have been 17s.
You came under 17s probably with Wefta and played 17s, 18s because Daz played a year with you and then Daz dropped back to his own age and went to Belvo under 17s. Because I played Premier with Tallaght under 17s, myself and Merrion, and Daz was playing with Belvo 17s.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you went 18s.
Yeah,
Daz played 17s twice.
Yeah, I think I'm missing a year now. I definitely could be missing a year.
The first game for the 17s at us win the league was
7-0 to Belvo.
7-0 to Belvo. They beat us there up there.
Because I thought Belvo.
No, they were still going to it, yeah.
Because Anto Kavanagh, he went to Shelbourne, and I think Anto was kind of Belvodere's main player, and I think he went to Shelbourne because all the League of Ireland clubs started coming in. Like we used to play against Shelbourne and Shamrock Rovers.
I'll have to check that out now.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, if people can tell us what we're going wrong.
That's a good point.
All along this. Everything's a lie.
We're not Sheffield Wednesday.
It's actually a great point that you're making it now, because now we can do this for podcasts. If anybody does remember the facts and things like that,
I'm
comment them up.
But I do remember. One of my first games at Wefta, right, is we were playing Kildon Road, and we had a terrific team. We had yourself, Nelson. You were a player at the back. Look at Nelson.
I don't want to say that, but alright. The boys only lifted over yesterday.
I think I brought across Evo, Ashy, Steve Conley. A good few Stella Myers players came across, and then we had Crocker was unbelievable. Daz was unbelievable, and we had Dino, Gav Quinn up top.
Dino Kelly.
Yeah,
and the first game, I think one of the first games I was playing with Kildon Road, I just remember 3 lads walked across with weapons in their hands and chased Dino out of Kildon Road, and I looked and I thought, oh my God, this place is nuts.
Dino's still getting chased by people. And he's chasing them
myself. This place is not. And I remember Limo just legging off the pitch, and he was chasing after them.
And then Jay
went
run the other way to the car.
He hits underneath the wheel.
Get out there.
Don't let me spices, lads.
Throwing all the herbs at them. Yeah, but I always remember Dino getting chased.
Remember that? Actually,
this is mad, and I loved it.
Yeah,
because street football, so it was bringing me back to loving football again, even though it was an instant. I thought I loved that.
You could handle that,
and I used to love the Wefta lads. And one of the other things that we done was we played a tournament around the valley. I think it was, but you played with us that day, I'm sure.
We played against them, I think we did. But no,
was this the 5-a-side?
Things against Strokes.
You were always with us. I don't know why you didn't sign for us that year. Why did you not sign for us?
I was with Tallaght. 17s, and I was at the,
I used to say to Limo, why does he not play for us?
But Limo, because I used to play up my age with you sometimes, but I never used to really get in, you know what I mean? Because I was probably a little bit less advanced than you, so I was a year younger, obviously. But under 17s, I was with Tallaght, and Limo kept saying to me, "Al, will you just leave Tallaght and come up and sign for me?"
Because you played pre-season,
I came up and played pre-season. In Kildon, and we played a good bit of pre-season, but I ended up staying my own age because I'm thinking I'm probably not going to get in here at Wefta. Went to Tallaght, playing down there, and Limo kept saying, will you just leave them, come up to me, tried to get me in the transfer, came up to trained, and I was like, I am going to sign this, because he was saying, look, you're going to play, you're definitely going to play, but I was still doubting, oh no, I'll play my own age.
Because I remember saying it to him a couple of times, because Naylor left to go to Cherry Orchard and started Como. I couldn't believe Como had done that.
Snakes.
Oh, Como. I couldn't believe it, because I thought to myself, I knew Como obviously from a train with the representatives, so I thought Como was definitely going to stay. But they went to Cherry Orchard, and they were our biggest rival that year. But at the start of that year, we played in Valley Park for a little 5-a-side, didn't we?
The things against Strokes,
yeah, we won that, and we won a few quid and all.
Yeah,
I went out that night, and I just
went down the Drake we did.
These are my type of people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Sometimes when you're playing with like other teams, like say Home Farm or Belvo, I didn't feel like there was a lot of good players, like, but they were from a different background to what.
Do you know what I just said there? You just so because there was fights happening and that you won a load of money and went drinking. You were sort of people.
Felt at home.
You felt that.
Don't start talking about the money yet.
That's you got me with a grand there, straight behind the bar.
Yeah. So I loved it, and then we got to the. I don't know where we came. Like, I don't know how
it was
we
a cup
didn't win
final.
it.
Was not be you there when we beat.
In the league, did we win that league?
No, we didn't. Cherry Orchard won, I think.
Are you sure?
And we won the cup, I think, against.
We had this debate when we done
I
a
don't think Cherry
podcast.
Orchard
I
won.
thought you won that league, the under 18s
I'm not too
league.
sure. I know us and the Orchard went head to head, and I know Marzi was quality back then. Short all was at the back. They still had a good bit of their team throughout the whole year.
And
so
then
they
had Naylor and Cummo
and they got all
and
them.
Doyler and all was
And they
over
had
there.
Sheppy only came late on as well,
yeah.
so he came on. And I'll give you a good one. See that team, the likes of Marzi and Sheppy. When I went to Leinster Senior League, they won that league.
With Cherry Orchard.
Yeah, Marzi and Sheppy. And Joey Somerville, who was the manager.
That was the last time Cherry Orchard won it, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they faded off after that.
I always thought our generation was probably as good as any generation that was there. Yeah, so.
But no, we won the cup that year. We beat Joey's in the cup final on Penhouse. Do you remember that? No.
No.
And we went there that night again.
I don't remember that either.
No, that's what you must have got mixed up. You won the cup, not
Did
the
we?
league.
Yeah. I
100%.
know we were close because I knew we were a good team.
We beat Joey's on Penhouse, actually. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right.
But all of our team then, we broke off. I think Dublin City took a lot. Who
Me and Daz went to UCD.
Yeah,
21s.
UCD. That was a good move
You
for
didn't.
UCD.
You didn't go 21s.
I don't
You
know,
went.
do
Did
I?
you went
Not
straight to WEFTA seniors?
Yeah.
Did you?
No, so I spoke to Limo at the end. I was like, he's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm going back on. I was gonna play with Whitestown because Johnny and Clark and all were playing with Whitestown. And he's like, no, I'm not letting you. And I'm like, you can't really tell me what to do, man.
Yeah.
Nearly getting it to 18 here. You know what I mean? I'm a man. But he convinced us to come over, and I remember the likes of, say, James O'Rourke used to drop us over all the time. Robbie was the manager, and he was at Blanchardstown at the time, so he used to drop us over. Bill McLean, Peter Murray. Who else was on that? Morsey Lepak, was he?
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul.
Ray Doyle. They were an unbelievable bunch of lads, and I just thought
Brilliant,
to
yeah.
myself, yeah.
So
Ray is going to be happy with a shout in there with all
Yeah,
the players.
yeah.
Yes, he will.
But we said we said we want to more talk about your schoolboy than anything else. So
Yeah.
we're kicking into our senior football now. So I'm going to run through. You went from obviously schoolboy into senior with the Weftas, yeah. You were there for a couple of years.
No, not necessarily. I think at 18, I think we played. I think I was in and out of the team. Obviously.
Premier
young
A
lad
at the
comes
time,
through,
You
obviously.
know, I
yeah.
always
That was
thought as
very
well,
tough,
which was
yeah.
probably the right, is the seniors never really respected the young, like the kids at that time. But I felt like Bill McLean used to give me all the ball. I remember the first match that I played and that I got game time, because I was obviously a sub, I wasn't getting in at the time, Valley Park, and the whole pitch was filled too deep. And
Around that valley.
there was an incident where the Garda came. Do you remember this?
No, I wasn't there.
I was playing with the valley at the time.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There was an
Yeah.
incident on the pitch, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everybody was kind of shook up from the incident. So the game
The game got stopped
for
didn't
about
it?
15,
Yeah,
20
yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
I mean, the whole pitch.
Yeah.
This was a summer's day. And
Summer's evening, yeah.
there must have been about 2,000 to 3,000 people around this pitch. It was unbelievable.
Local
And
derby.
oh, it was a
Stones throw
lot
from each other.
proper local derby. I loved it, you know what I mean? I loved
Couple of
the
hundred
atmosphere.
at the game. Easy.
Yeah. I
Easy.
mean, like the pitch was filled up. The Garda came. I think they even drove onto the thing.
They could have, yeah.
And the game started and the players were frozen, and Robbie turned me on, and I done what I used to do: collect the ball and got the game like
Moving.
got him. And I remember him telling me, like, didn't he said it in a team talk. He says, and the only player to try and get on the ball was this fella, like 18 years of age. The rest of you are supposed to be men and all, and this fella's not the only one. And I just thought that's a little bit of loving that I need, like, and that gave me a little
boost.
That kicked you on.
that kicked me on big time, yeah. That little speech that he gave me, and I was delighted with that because, you know what I mean? I thought,
It's some senior than you had to give me a pat on the back then. you know?
yeah. So then I thought to myself, I can play here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can get
isn't
in
it,
here.
Isn't it guys the fine little
Little
things,
tiny things,
a
yeah.
little mention,
Yeah.
and that's all it needs to click you in.
But I think Limo got dragged up to the first team
He did, yeah.
to try and get ourselves up. Obviously, you left us. So.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
opportunities, you know.
But yeah, I think Limo kind of got dragged up with Robbie to say, listen, we'll try and bring in the lads. They've done well. It'd be good to bring in the schoolboys. And I was probably one of the first to kind of break through. It was a good little year. I think it came to the end of the year, and I don't know what happened with Robbie and Limo. I think they left, and Chandler took over for a few games. If you remember.
What I think happened there, what did happen. Yeah, Robbie either left or went to Tallaght. I'm not 100% sure
not
that.
year.
I think he left.
Not that year. I don't know what happened with Robbie and Limo, but Chandler took over.
Chandler came in and Liam stayed with Chandler.
No, I don't think
as
so.
As a coach, no,
Did
he definitely did. Yeah, 100%.
Because I remember Chandler saying to me, because obviously Robbie was kind of looking after us, and he always brought us over, and he was kind of giving me game time. And Chandler saying to me, and listen, I love Chandler now, but I didn't know really who Chandler was. And he was like, "Are you with me?" And I was like, No, my head was gone. Like Robbie was gone. I don't know about Limo. I think Limo was on the edge as well at that time.
Right.
Because I used to talk to Limo about it. Talk to Limo a lot. But I don't know what happened anyway. But I ended up. I think we have to won the Navy that year.
The Liddy.
Was it?
The Liddy.
Yeah, and I was on the bench, and I just thought that's it. Me finished with football, and then I went to. Do you know who I went to? I went to Begsbury.
Did you?
Yeah. Dino Kelly got me there. Dino played.
Dino's with Begsbury.
For about 3 months. Begsbury built a new pitch. I think Dino's uncle or something was in Begsbury. I think, and myself and Evo.
I wonder, could it have been Jay? Was Jay Kelly there? No.
I thought it was Dino's uncle from Cabra. But Begsbury built that pitch on Friday Night Football. Unbelievable pitch in Brownbridge.
Yeah.
And I thought, I have a little piece of this. Like,
one
of the force with the lights, weren't they?
Not, like, good team. Like, they had the likes of Ken Darker, Wayne McDonald, Brian Fawkes, Dino. Dino only played a few games, so I think Dino was in and out. You know what Dino was like at that time. He was just, and it was all right. Like, but at Christmas time, I think Robbie and Limo got reinstalled. Would it be right?
That's what happened. You're right there. You're right. Robbie did leave. Chandler left then.
Yeah. And Robbie came back.
And then Robbie came back, yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
And that's when I kind of kicked on. So he's brought me back over to FD.
Start playing a bit more game time. The love was back. Down the
shoulder. Was left back Limo. I was back, and I was loving life again. And that's when I kind of kicked on with this schoolboy. And I think the first year he tried to get us out to the Oscar trainer team, and I didn't want to go. I didn't. But this year, I think Robbie then got into
his coach,
with the AUL, yeah.
So he brought us out. So I needed lifts. Like, obviously getting over to Wefta from Blanchardstown. I think Noel Cully used to give me a lift all the time. That was great. Yeah. And then Foxy used to give us a lift, and then obviously James O'Rourke used to give us a lift, and Robbie. So Robbie was like, I'm going on to the thing, I want to come out and have a go. And I was like, I don't know. Like, my ambition was not to play amateur football. My ambition then at that time was to try and be happy playing football, you know what I mean? I was a nightmare. Like, before games I used to drink.
Yeah.
I used to be constantly out. I remember Lamo catching me one night as well. I was out in heaven.
Chandler told us this story.
I was out in heaven. So me and Bubbles were only like 6 and 7. I don't even know. I think I know how I'm going to mention Dave Scully there. I think I know how I got in, right? But I got in, and Friday night, and there was a big game on Saturday, and me and Bubbles was bopping away. We're only young, we're not even allowed drinking in heaven. Next of all, the little tap to show, Limo, what are you doing? I was like, what? Bubbles was like, fuck it, we grand, we won't get fucked out or anything like that. Next of all, the bouncers straight out.
God, Limo had a word.
Yeah, Limo had a word, yeah. Little snake. But yeah, my pre-game was terrible. Like, I never wanted to be an amateur football. But once I crossed that line, that was me. I was going to go.
Once you got on the pitch, that was it.
I was full in there.
Do you think you lacked? Obviously, but what happened to us? You wanted to be a professional footballer, obviously going on trials and all, and then you did what we spoke about there a few minutes ago about senior level. You didn't want to play senior level. Do you think you lacked enthusiasm for it as 100%, well? Yeah,
100%.
That was pushing you away from it, and that in turn led you to your preparation for games, going out before games, not caring. But when you got over the line,
I didn't know what amateur football was. Like in Blanchardstown where I lived, anyway, there was no big amateur teams. You know? So I didn't know what amateur football could bring. Because
we were brought up in it, weren't we? With Wefta being Premier A, so that we knew what it was.
Yeah, because I remember Crocker used to sometimes go out on a Sunday for them, and used to play on a Saturday for us. Like, and he used to say, this is like that's an
Wefta seniors.
Yeah, mad football, like. Yeah. And I always used to just think a bunch of bullies, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, once
you get used, when you're in that squad, and that mentality, and as you said, they make you feel welcome.
Yeah,
it's different.
With that, getting on the Oscar trainer team, I think I've done well. I've done okay. I'll be honest with you. I got into the team around Christmas, played a quarter final. I think I scored a hat trick. I was like,
I
did okay. And then Joey Malone got me a throw to Aberdeen. I didn't really want to go.
That's right. Remember that?
Yeah. So I went to Aberdeen, and I went with two brothers. They were the Cunninghams from Galway. One of them plays for Preston at the minute. I think he's in the Ireland team. But his other brother was better. Ended up having an incident where he couldn't play football. So I always remember being at Aberdeen. Didn't get to play a game at Aberdeen. Joey Malone apologised to me for that. But I always just thought Joey was bringing me over because the AOL wanted me to be their little poster boy. Yeah, because
you had to hear for it.
I had to hear for it. Yeah, I think Barry and Browner, Barry Flynn and Keith Brown was on they were kind of retiring at that stage. So I think they kind of looked at another person to try and put into that status, like, you know what I mean? They picked the wrong guy. they definitely did, you know what I mean? So yeah, we played a quarter final. I think 1-3. I scored a hat trick then, and then we played against semi final. Now, when you're playing for the AUL team at that time, they hadn't won it for years, and it was kind of a little big thing at the time, you know what I mean? So they were desperate to win it. And I remember the team. The team was unbelievable at the time. Like in goal, Austin Hannon, Dougie Dolan, Ross Carrick. I think John Carroll, Costello,
Steve Costello, yeah.
Mick Akio, the two Canes. Davey was unbelievable.
Class.
Oh my god. Mick was class at the time. Lacey couldn't get in the team, which is like Lacey, probably the best amateur football out there, was he?
Centre forward was at that time
when
he was developing into it, yeah.
Through the whole lot, I would think Lacey's probably the best. He was something else. Like there was loads of players that couldn't get in the team, and yeah. I was in the middle, done okay. In the semi-final then we played Waterford, and I remember Wilkes, we went to extra time.
Dermot Wilkins.
And he said something like, he says, just give him the ball. And I thought, don't fucking say that in front of all the lads, man. You know what I mean? And I thought...
How old are you at this stage, kid?
Only about 19.
Yeah.
And I was young, like, you know what I mean? And he turned around, a semi-final extra time, just give him the ball. I was like... You're a ballback. please don't do that to me. And you have the likes of Davey and all saying, like, you have the likes of Davey Kane, senior players just saying, give him the ball.
Junior internationals.
We had a terrible game that game, you know what I mean? But we ended up winning it, and anyway, got man the match that game, which I shouldn't have. So now the politics is coming in, I think, as well. Yeah. Where I'm getting man the match when I shouldn't. So I knew at that final
I think that happened a lot with the likes of the AUL team.
It did, 100%.
I remember playing a few times with him with the AUL squads and players getting man of the match, and I was going, he didn't get man of the match. Yeah. Now playing in the game and thinking somebody else got it and going,
Mick Akio was unbelievable in the final. I think he scored 3, and I don't even think I've done anything in the game being man of the match. I was like, that just is a joke. Like,
there goes, isn't it? That's the poster boy, that's all you want.
But that was probably the star. Like, the star used to ring you up and they used to say, oh, you've done really well. And the thing, I was on a site, done really well. Yeah, he says, Jerry Smith must be looking at you. I'm like, didn't even know who Jerry Smith was. yeah, happy days, Jerry's looking. You know what I mean? Big up, Jerry. You know what I mean? I said, yeah, fair play, yeah. He said, and would you really like an Irish cap? Oh yeah, I love an Irish cap, yeah. But then they would just write articles to say, to
fill the gaps.
They would put the pressure on you then, you know what I mean? So with the Irish thing set up, I got my first cap at the end of that year. I think I'm probably one of the youngest to get the cap.
With Wefter at this stage? Or
Wefter, yeah. I played against Northern Ireland in Billorgan.
Right.
I think I'm one of the youngest to get the cap at the time, but I kind of done it for kind of the work that Lemo, Robbie, and say the Wefter lads, like,
and the trust they gave you,
and the trust, and the likes of Bill McLean says, I love it, I love an Ireland cap, you can't turn that down. I didn't do it. I'm not going to say I didn't do it for myself, because once I played, I was going to play to the max that I could, but I kind of done it for, say, the likes of Bill, where he didn't get it, and I thought he should have gotten it.
We spoke about this before as well. We can't believe Bill never got any like individual accolades for representative AOL or
solid man.
At that time, there was a lot of hookers and squeezers as defenders. Yeah, Bill McLean was not one of them. No, I know people say he put his head anywhere, but he used to pass me the ball all the time.
Yeah,
it was like you. It was like playing with you. Yeah, you used to say, "Okay, Nelson, just give me the ball there." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just saying, but if it's a hot and playable, you said lads just wanted to keep the ball off and get rid of the ball as quick as possible.
Bill knew when to get rid of it. That was the difference.
But yeah, he was some player. Like, but like again, I'm gonna say my ambition was not to be an Ireland amateur player. I kind of, when I was playing for West, I kind of thought, I'm going to try and make these boys proud. They've kind of helped me. O'Rourke always helped me. Robbie O'Reilly, he was tremendous with us. Liam Donnelly, I kind of wanted to do it for them as well as, like, I did want to do
as
it a
well
little
as
bit.
yourself. Yeah, it's a great way of putting it.
So yeah, played
selfless.
Northern Ireland, done okay. Like playing for Ireland, there was like people. You could say what was it like playing? Was it a higher level? I didn't think so.
Did you know?
No,
Right.
no. I just thought it was just another game. And
who's in the squad now at this stage?
yeah, he was in the squad. I think Mika got a cap at that time with me. I think that was probably Mika's first cap. At that time, you had a fella called Ian Cherry. He's from Blanchardstown. He played for Belgrove. Tootsie Doyle, he was there. He's a good little player. He was from Belgrove as well. He's from Blanchardstown. So them two boys
Them two boys played for Bluebell then, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They talked to me. So it was great because sometimes you go into a representative side, they kind of, you don't talk to each other or anything like that. So they kind of made me feel a little bit relaxed. I think Chalky played. Yeah, it was a strange team. It wasn't the team that you're known for. At that time, there was a few like
drafted
just getting in. It was more caps,
yeah,
and I remember, like, I know the Canes were talking about saying that you only get a cap when you're playing a tournament. I got a cap for that game.
Right.
So that was it. I was in there. I didn't know whether I was going to get called back or not. I think I done okay that game. I don't.
What did you think of the style of play? Did it suit you?
The style of play is so when we went training, say we only went a couple of training. It was set piece based.
Yeah.
He did not.
That's the training session. Yeah, set piece.
But he didn't like to play. Like, but I'm gonna give him his credit when it comes to his credit because he progressed with football. At that time,
Jerry Smith did,
he was make sure you're strong, defend well, and we win on set pieces. So you would need to know where you are for set pieces, and that's how we played at that time. And I think that's. No, he probably has a different opinion to me. They didn't win a lot because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We wanted to compete.
Yeah. We played Northern Ireland again, and I got into another team, and I scored that time. But I done my hamstring, snapped. The second I scored, I ran back to the halfway line, snapped it.
Fuck, and it's just running back.
Yeah, so I was still left it. And to be fair to Robbie, he brought me down to all the physios, done everything, and I had another Irish game then in a few weeks' time. And I think in that time then I was starting to put on a little bit of weight. Like, did you ever hear the story about Jerry putting me up on the weighing scales?
No.
Oh yeah, so we went.
Go on, let's listen to this one.
We went out to the Basque region, right? Basque, very good players in Bilbao. Lovely little spot. It was before the tournament, and I was come back from the hamstring and played. No, I'm not gonna say it's because of this, but it could be because of this. So I didn't start, and I watched the first half, and the Basque region knocked the ball around, kept the ball like very good.
As they would.
It was nil all at the time because obviously Ireland are strong defensively set up. And I kept looking at the match and thinking, this is ridiculous. Like, anytime we got the ball, we just pumped it forward. And the Basque region would used to just retreat. So Danny Crowley was the coach. And I didn't really care how the game was going. I just thought when I get on, I'm going to try and do a bit.
Play the way you play.
But I got on 15 minutes ago and I ran by the backs. And the keeper had it in his hand. I think it was Brendan O'Connell. I said, give me the ball. And he's like,
what do I do here?
I said, give me the ball. I said, don't pump along, just give me the ball. And he kind of thrown it to me. I think I got a little bit of a lecture off Chalky and O'Connell because of that. But I wasn't going to watch him whack balls all the time, you know what I mean? I said, give me the ball. So I played a little bit. Crowley said, fair play to you at the end, but it was a sneakily, like, he kind of said, well done. Yeah, fair play, brave on the ball. I don't think Smith liked it. I think Smith kind of thought I went against his.
He was very strict on his football, wasn't he?
At the end of that game then, we were having something to eat and he called myself and Adrian Walsh, I think it was, from Carrick, goalkeeper. It's a fantastic goalkeeper, unbelievable. I thought he was better than Brendan O'Connell, I'll be honest with you. He was
Brendan
more.
O'Connell is still in that.
I know that, but I thought Adrian Walsh was.
Yeah, so I thought that as well. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we thought he was better. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrian Walsh was more like you come out and do everything.
A bit more agile, wasn't he?
Agile, yeah, he was very good. You know, I mean, I thought Adrian Walsh, but he made us two stand on the weighing scales, and I thought to myself,
just pick the two of you out.
It could have killed a person, yeah. Just pick the two of
us out.
He
had a bit on himself, didn't he? AJ
in front of him, in front of everyone, in front of everybody, and I thought to myself, fuck this, and just stood on the weighing scales. Probably gave you that one, you know. That was. I was only 14 stone at that time, but he wanted me 12, yeah. So it didn't bother me. It could have bothered other people. I didn't. It kind of did a little bit. It kind of didn't. Like I didn't really take thing. I got into the squad that year, to go over, we played France. They battered us 2-0. They were big and strong. They were like semi-professional. Done okay. And that was it then, kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of stops then after a tournament.
Yeah.
But during that meantime, I moved to Tallaght.
Yeah.
That was it, the time that we moved to Tallaght, like.
How did the transition come from going from Wefton to Tallaght? What was it? Robbie leaving?
Robbie, and I asked Limo, and kind of Limo says, yeah, it's probably a step up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He probably says, listen,
just that little bit better step up.
No, the games weren't like you could play football in the Nessa Senior. With the AOL is more of tackles and trying to get about, and you know what I mean. More, I felt a more streak. Like you're playing against the likes of Mick Garn and David Lacey there. Yeah. More street rugged. Yeah. Like that Calessa team, I think they got to a semi-final of the FAI Cup against Sligo.
That's right.
So I would guess that Calessa team, and I'm gonna say this now, was better than any Leinster Senior League team at that time.
Yeah,
100%.
And I think they played Tallaght that year, didn't they? The year they got to that, and I think they bashed Tallaght 3 or 4.
I'm not too sure.
Probably in the lead up, probably wouldn't have been when you were there. Okay. But in the lead up in that cup, they played them.
I would guess that Calessa, who were an AOL team at that time, were the best team.
So standards of the AOL was at that stage,
yeah, were probably a little bit, I'd say, better. The only thing that Leinster Senior League had was facilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you could see that league, everything in life progresses. That league was progressing.
Yeah.
Like you were going out and you were changing in AOL beside all the teams all the time. That wasn't progressing.
Yeah, it wasn't going anywhere.
Exactly. So you could see the little progression where I go out to talk and it was all set up, it was all neat. You know,
the better players couldn't see that and say, well, this is what we want to be playing.
Like, like you don't want to be playing like.
Look, listen, if you compare it even from where Tallaght were playing and where Wefton were playing, you're playing in Mater Christie. Yeah. And Mater Christie was by no means the best. And you're going on to like a snooker table down at Frank Cup. Yeah. That's what done it for me going down to Tallaght.
100%.
I'm going to play on this every week. Friday nights.
And that's exactly. Obviously, the main reason was Robbie, like my second dad, he was like, you mean, he treated me like he gave me the confidence that I needed to play football. And then Limo gave me the go ahead, and then Dino went down.
Because Jay was at the taking over with Robbie.
I had Dino. Gav came back. I think Gav done well at Dublin Bus the year before.
Gav Quinn.
I think he was probably one of the top goal scorers. He came back. So we set up a nice little Tallaght team, and it was a very good Tallaght team. Very good, and we passed the ball. I mean,
Kenno in that squad that you was down there?
No.
Was he not?
No, I think Kenno went back to Wefton when I went to Tallaght.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? But we
passed the ball,
we passed the life out of sometimes, like, and it was great. You know what I mean? Like playing on that pitch and all.
It was like a carpet, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good team.
Yeah.
Morgan Cranley in goal.
Who was there?
Morgan. I got Milady down from Belgrove. Milady was class. Left back. Do you remember Ron Garvin?
Yeah.
Owen Garvin's
brother. Yeah, Chucky.
Chucky.
Yeah, played with Chucky down there. Yeah, lovely bloke.
Centre half, I'm not too sure. Centre half for Paulie Quinn, which was Gav's cousin. Very good at playing football.
No, I think Gav and Paul came from Dublin Bus. The both of them.
I think they could have.
Did they?
I think they could have. Yeah. But Paulie surprised me how good he was. Alan McDermott came
and small, wasn't he? He was small, Paul Quinn.
Yeah, but he played like, you know what I mean. It was myself and Wheelo in the middle. Wheelo's some player.
Ray.
Oh, what player? People say about his running. His running was smart running though, you know what I mean? Like if he saw
the timing of his runs and
unbelievable, and he used to take everybody away from you. Now we never talked to Ray to say, okay, Ray, you go, and I sit.
He just done it.
We just kind of, okay, we know what we're doing here. Nice man. And he was a smart player. Listen, people can say what they want about the running, but he was was quality. He was high end.
I thought Ray Whelan was one of the toughest players I played against in the middle, because he just his fitness level.
Yeah, but that's all people.
But he could play as well.
Definitely, he scored goals to beat the band. Like I remember, Dino used to always come short, get the ball. Dino always wanted the ball, and they used to follow him, and Ray just used to go on.
Yeah,
and you couldn't catch Ray because once he just goes at the same good pace all the way forward, and he used to.
He's like he's constant in a canter.
Used to whip it around the corner, and then he just scored. Like I think our first game was against Wayside, if I remember correctly, and they were top of the league, and they had a good few international players. I think the two Callants played for them.
Well, I think they were probably dominating that in Leinster Senior at that stage. No,
they were. That team was like their backs were just a completely set forward back. They were like they used to go long all the time. But I remember playing them that day, and we used to have Mars. Keith Mar was a terrific player. Like he was on the say the right or left. I used to start up top. Yeah, it was some team. Yeah.
So we went on and he didn't really win the trophies. I suppose you thought he was going to win with the team that he's had. Like
no. So I think I came a little bit into the season there, and I ended up finishing the season with Tallaght. But I think we won the Charlie Cattle. Yeah,
there's a picture of Frank Cook, obviously, with Charlie Cattle winners, and you're in yourself.
I scored the winner, I think. I think I got man of the match again.
It was actually in Frank Cook, wasn't it?
No, it was out in the south side. It was against Bangor, and I tell you, Bangor beat us the week before in the semi-final of the intermediate. We should have won the intermediate that year, but we couldn't have won the league. I think they had such a bad start, we couldn't have won the league. I think Crumlin ended up winning the league that year. Again, another fella from Stallamar's team, Larko, was up top with Anto McCormick, and they were a good team, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so we done okay. We finished the league well that year, and I thought we're going to step up next year. Yeah. And we kind of did, until the money came into it.
I was going to say, you moved to Mount Merrion, was it?
Is that what happened? So that after that season,
so
Merrion came knocking.
Not in the summer.
Yours to move to Mount Merrion, was it?
not in the summer. It was a few games into it. I got an injury against Dublin Bus, and I think the whole groin or something like that was busted up. And when I came back again, I didn't talk to any of the lads for a while. Like, so I didn't really hang around with any of the football lads or anything like that. I used to go back to the 6 lads that I grew up with. I'd go back, and that's like, so I kept football, work, everything kind of separate.
So if the lads went for a point down to Frank, you didn't go, you got home.
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of done everything
have a point with them.
Yeah. So I always went back to my mates. Didn't really hear from Tallaght, I think, for a few weeks. I was injured. And do you ever feel that feeling when you're injured? You're like
nobody's ringing me.
We don't really care about it.
Are you not checking in? Yeah.
I might have ADHD attention, like, you know what I mean? I need it. But
as we said there, just certain players need that. Do you know what I mean? If you're out for 6-7 weeks and nobody's ringing you and nobody's sorting out physio, you're gonna be like, hold on a minute here.
During that period, I think one of the lads, names, rang me and says, "Are you getting any money off Tallaght?"
One of the Mount Merrion lads rang
No, Tallaght lads.
Right.
I was like, "Oh, sure, Tallaght aren't paying." And I said, "Are they?" If they're paying, I want a piece of this game. You know what I mean? And he was like, "No, I heard you could be getting a few quid." And I was like, "No," because obviously I was probably an Irish amateur at that time, and I was doing well. That they probably but rumours spread like that, and anyway, like, you know what I mean? But no, definitely wasn't getting a few quid at Tallaght. But then Mount Merrion rumours were flying. They were offering out all sorts of money, and like, I don't know how it happens, like, but I say in work, one of the lads would say, "Oh, would you go for a thing?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go for it. It's amateur football. Like, I'm not going to turn down money to do what I'm doing now." Like, so the next week, get a phone call. Do you fancy coming out here? And that's how it happened. Like,
what are they offering like at that time?
I was on 125 a game, 25 a goal. Scored a hat-trick one time.
First game.
That's it. Scored a hat-trick against
because the rumours back then was Barbour was getting 250 a game.
So the rumours are not correct. And
depends when he goes, he's short.
But listen, other lads could have been getting it. Went to Mount Merrion.
Because didn't they get a few players over? Like Adrian McDonald and all went over, didn't they?
Some team. Some team. Trana Mitchell.
Trana was there, yeah.
Ozzy Skelly. John King. Maraha. Just unbelievable. Yeah.
All top LSL players,
but not one of them gave it. Like, I didn't even really. So, like, you blame the players. Don't blame the club. Don't blame the man that, like, he sorted us out. Got a text last week. And I wasn't even going to mention his name, but I will, because he passed away last week. His name was Maurice Lyons. You know Andy Lyons? Plays for Blackpool, signed from Shamrock Rovers. It was his dad. But listen, how it happened, he brought me into his office, which was opposite the Rotunda, and he was like, he spoke about an hour of how I played and how he loved watching me play. He spoke an hour about what he could have done. His brother was Johnny Lyons, and he died a few years ago as well. And he loved his brother, and he loved how, like, he wanted to change Irish football, and he offered the FUI a take over, and this is how he told me the plans, and they were brilliant plans. Like, look at the people that the FUI had in charge, And you're looking at a man that like
passionate about
football. And the only reason he put the money into Mount Merrion is because he loves Mount Merrion. Like.
Yeah.
Right.
So people like I would never dish the guy that's putting his hard-earned money into something. Like you have other clubs.
Another good insight into something that you wouldn't be exposed to.
Like he gave me a 3-hour speech on like why he done this. He done it for Mount Merrion people to have a club that he was proud to say that this is our club.
Look, if we get into money, the first thing they do is throw into things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But
if you won the lotto, you definitely do something.
100%.
I'd do it. If I won the lotto now,
So you don't begrudge, like, yeah.
Yeah, what I would do, I wouldn't do the seniors now, but I'd say, okay, from under 8s to under 13s, free, all the time. Because listen, it gave me a now. If it gives me a now, it can give other kids a now.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see other kids try and like it's a bit of hardship now because I think they're paying a good bit of money. Like parents are paying a good bit of money out.
Yeah, but
for registration fees and things.
Yeah,
like that.
so if I won the lotto, I would hopefully
make sure it's free.
Yeah, but I would do the kids thing, let the kids like like
Well, a few teams have enough money now, don't they? In the top level,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they still want the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? DDSL, one of the lads were telling me, it's to register a player is 30 quid.
That's the cover insurance. There's a bit of trouble about that at the moment. Yeah, it's the cover insurance.
And then you're paying for the club as well.
But the people are saying though, because the insurance is €30, it comes to your school, and anyway, the kids are insured through a school, or you get private insurance anyway. So they're saying, why should I sign up for this if the kids are insured? But yeah, so that's gone back about 15, 20 years that you're getting paid.
Yeah, but like
Obviously,
listen,
there's
as I said,
a bit more of a going on today's.
A lot more going on there.
No, back then, Belgrove, a report. I know a few lads off Malahide that were getting it.
Malahide
So
back then,
no, there was other clubs definitely doing it. Mount Merrion were just out.
Yeah, it's a big
they did try and hide it, but they were out there. But the man that gave them money, his passion was football, and I couldn't say a bad word about this fella. He was a lovely, lovely man. Like, and I'd say all the players that played for Mount Merrion would have probably they would have said the same thing. Now at Mount Merrion, you had Sean Bourne that was the coach, and he used to put on some train sessions. So I didn't have any bad things with Mount Merrion or anything like that. It's just football played a little part of, like, money played a part. I'll give you an instance. We were playing Belgrove, winning 4-0, and one lad didn't square it. 4-0 up, one lad didn't square it. Came into the dressing room, the two of them started going at each other. You're like, we just won 4-0.
Yeah.
You're like, and all I kept thinking is, this is a joke, like, you know what I mean? Like, the training sessions at Mount Merrion were harder than the football pitches. Just a bunch of Jimmy Traore's. Like used to come back from the League of Ireland. The training session, they used to train harder than what they used to play in the matches. So I used to think, what are you doing? I mean, relax on the training. Like, you do on the pitch. You don't have to do on the training.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Now, I understand the other side where people want to train as hard as what they play at football. But with Mount Merrion, I just thought, like, Jimmy Traore's these are where they're training harder than what they're playing on the pitch. Like, you know what I mean?
So this lasted a year out in Mount Merrion, or did it?
Yeah,
we offered another bit more money to stay, or was it?
No. To be fair to that man again, and I tell you, like, how it worked. I didn't really know how the money was kind of given, but he brought me in. He gave me that speech, and it was a great speech, and he gave me a check then. But at the end of the summer is where you play 2 games a week. So you're obviously playing, like, you walk her up, but he then sent us another check out, and all he had on it was, have a good holiday, I'll see you back, I want to see you back. And he gave a little bit extra, which was unbelievable. And I just thought, what a man. You know what I mean? That's how good of a man he was. Like, never left anybody short or anything like that. He was always...
Everyone always got paid.
Everything to his word, that's what he said. And I always thought to myself, the FUI could have just done with a man like that, you know what I mean? He was an unbelievable...
Was everybody getting a few bob there?
I would think so. I definitely think so.
Because I know a few, a bit of insight from a couple of teams that are paying now.
Yeah.
And there's some players not getting a few bob, and there's some players are getting a few bob. So I was just wondering, was there any sort of differences? Did anyone know that someone was getting paid and someone wasn't getting paid?
I said there was definitely different money given out. However, I didn't really care. Like, I just wanted to know what I was getting.
Concentrating yourself.
But again, that's my fault for being greedy. That's like, I thought to myself, this is a way to make money as well as working, like, you know what I mean? So it's down
and
to me.
play football at the same time.
Like, so the grade is mine. Now, I have 2 regrets there. The first regret is leaving Tallaght, and the second regret is not signing for Crumlin. I should have signed for Crumlin.
Who did I say this to? Did I say this to you on the phone the other day, Nelson?
Oh, you went out to a training session with Lochran.
Or might have been Crockett. whoever I spoke to, he says, I would have loved to see Git sign for Crumlin United because when he was at his best, Crumlin were at their best.
Crumlin aren't paying, bro.
I wasn't all about the money.
Things that fuck was.
So you got
only for that year.
You got a chance to go to Crumlin.
Yeah. So during that time, actually, so it was between Mount Merrion and Crumlin. But I shouldn't have leaving Tallaght. Tallaght is the first biggest regret. I should have sticking with Jay and Robbie, and I think I would have done okay. I think I had what I needed there. But Martin brought me across. But I always remember Dino telling me then later how good of a manager Martin was, and I always thought,
unbelievable.
I thought I could have been probably a little bit. I could have gotten a
little bit. Got a bit more out of yourself. Then you could have went and won a few things.
I always need change throughout my life. I always change clubs. That's the schoolboys will tell you.
I was looking at your list there. The trained schoolboys must be about 15, 20 things.
But I think that was definitely the wrong. Like, money's not everything. I know that now. At that time, I was greedy. I hold my hands up. Definitely greedy, but I should have signed for Martin at that time.
James Lee said on this podcast, Martin was the perfect manager for him because Martin could handle him.
Yeah.
He could handle Martin. And he said the 1 year that Dino Kelly was over there, he says Martin was probably the only manager that could keep Dino at a level where he did. And working under Martin, he definitely has that as a really good trait in him. So I think it would have been a nice kind of combo there with yourself and himself.
Martin, like, anytime I spoke to Martin on the pitch and all, I always looked at him and thought I should have gone over to you. But with Dino again, throughout them years with Mount Merrion, I wasn't selected for the Ireland team, but Dino did. You know what I mean? But I think that's when Jerry Smith started to progress with football, because Dino was saying that he went to Italy that year, and I think Dino was banging the goals in, and I think it kind of where Jerry Smith was, everything was pure structure, everything was organised, everything was down to T. With Dino, nothing structured. And I think a thing happened where Dino was allowed his freedom, and I think Jerry probably looked at this and thought, this is the way to progress.
I can win games here.
This is the way I can win games, by putting players. Because when I was with the Irish squad beforehand, we used to have Cork lads like Decky O'Connell, Mark O'Sullivan. Do you ever hear Mark O'Sullivan?
Yeah.
Used to play for Avondale and Cork.
He scored the winner against us in the intermediate final.
Unbelievable. Mark O'Sullivan. Yeah, unbelievable player. But he never played because I think he was too off the cuff for Jerry Smith, you know what I mean? But I think Dino changed Jerry Smith's perspective.
To bring these lads in. So John O'Rourke started against the squad, but you've never seen him at the squad.
John O'Rourke would never been in the team. I think Dino changed Jerry, and I give Jerry Smith credit. He's progressed with football. You know what I mean?
You were talking earlier on about obviously play against Russia for the Irish team, and I can't remember who was talking that he says the hottest day, the hottest game they played in and everything else, and everyone was wrecked. And the way Git played, if you ever hear Git run behind you, you'd hear the huff and the puff behind you.
Probably hearing the
freight train.
But he said everyone else was dead on their feet. Git Barbour gets the ball, plays it to the winger in the centre midfield and makes a run. Was it 2-1 to Russia at the time, was it?
Sorry, I'll go through. So after Mount Merrion, I was signed for Tallaght for a year.
Right.
Yeah. Didn't do well. I hate it.
Money down there? Was the money down there as well?
No, so that came about because the manager of my job was the manager of Tallaght. He was assistant manager. Now, I didn't, like, the lads now. Did you ever play with Gar Logan?
Played against him a few times. Good player. Good player. He was a Tallaght man then when the Tallaght, didn't he?
Yeah,
for a couple of seasons,
it was like he was from Fortland or Finglas.
Yeah,
he was a good footballer.
Good centre fielder,
Alan Keeley, Dermot Keeley, sadly he passed away. He was a great fella. Sound. Robbie Hedeman came back from League of Ireland. Corky, great players at Tallaght. Got relegated. It was just a disaster.
You got relegated at Tallaght,
I don't even know how. I think we were challenging for the league and got relegated. One of them years where top and bottom wasn't too far. I think that was the year Dino had the unbelievable year. I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
You got to move to Oldham then.
We played him in the Charlie Cattle final, and he's got the ball with his back to goal, touches the side, scored top corner. And I said, Dino, what are you doing?
James did that as well, didn't he?
I think he spoke about that goal.
I was just thinking, wait, Jesus Christ, that's some goal, Dino. It's like, just start laughing, like, you know what I mean?
Whips everything he touched that year.
Yeah, everything he done that year. It's unbelievable. Got a good transfer to Oldham. I think he scored a winner for Shamrock Rovers in the league.
Did they win the league against
UCD?
But then I joined Mountfield. I had to do something. Not that I had to do something.
This is after Tallaght.
Yeah, after Tallaght, I hated football again. I was it wasn't down or anything. I just didn't like football at the time. You know what I mean? Joined Mountfew. All my mates were playing there at the time. Willie and Wardy was kind of managing. Then they were great lads, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it changed my perspective. I love football again. I love getting changed by the side of the pitch and everything else, like, you know what I mean?
Back to grassroots.
Back to the old times, like, you know what I mean? Now, don't ask me how I got picked for the Ireland team. Not too sure. I'm gonna guess this though. Jerry Davis, who was a coach under level, I think he was looking for a holding midfielder. I think it was Jerry Davis, and I think he thought I could do a job there.
Yeah.
They definitely weren't going to come down and watch Mountfew play, like.
Exactly, but do you know you had the player there in yourself though to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, probably. No, I had a bit more weight on me that time, so like.
Yeah, but like, your engine's always been there. No, you probably didn't think it wasn't as no one's engine's the same as a 19, but you're carrying a bit of weight. But yes, you still had it in you. I watched you play, and you just, as I said to the boys, I can't remember who I said, I seen you play a match. You got the ball in the end line, you won the ball at the end line, and literally ran the whole pitch with the ball and went and scored. Like.
That was Portmarnock.
Portmarnock, yeah.
Against it, yeah. That was at Whitworth that was.
Yeah, so what they're saying is you had that ability to just get up and get trucking, like, you know.
Yeah, but like I don't know how I got the call up to the Irish team.
What tournament was it you went to play? Was it a school of friendlies or?
No, yeah. So played a few friendlies, got selected for the team. Now, when I was playing the friendlies and doing the training, I used to train on the Saturday morning for the Ireland team and then play for the Mountfew team. And I think that killed me a bit. I think I started picking up a little injury there.
You said a bit weight on it as well. Wouldn't it help?
Yeah. So, but like training in the morning, playing in the afternoon, I think so. We went away and anyway. We played a little. I think you played the qualifiers over here, and we played Italy. Definitely played Italy. Who else did we play? San Marino and France, and we got through them qualifiers, and I did okay then as well. So I think from that then I was kind of selected for the Regions Cup itself.
And where was that being played?
Braga, in Portugal.
Portugal, yeah.
Unbelievable hot. Every game was like over 45. It wasn't even that was 35 degrees. There was no air. It was very difficult to breathe, like, you know what I mean?
But did you play every game that?
Yeah, I played I started off, but again I was saying I had a little niggle at where the hip flexor is. I couldn't shoot, I couldn't kick the ball. I would try to hide it as well as I could, but every game was going into me body was breaking down piece by piece. And I think with the Russia game, right? And I tell you what happened with the Russia game is me missus had me daughter Isabella the night before, and I'm standing in the room with Glenn Keddy. Do you know who Glenn Keddy is?
No.
Oh, he's a little messer, he is. He's a wind-up merchant. Yeah, brilliant lad, but came down, played that day, and it's still high. Obviously, the adrenaline's running through us, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we were losing 1-0, and I thought, I'm not coming over here for nothing.
Missing the beard of my daughter and
yeah. So knocked the ball out. Ball comes in high as a kite. I said, and I was on a yellow, and I just thought, I'll get up here. I'm gonna get up here, and I got up, knocked it. Lacey tried to steal it on the line. End up 1-1, and then Davey O'Sullivan scored to make it 2-1. We were in the final, because it's like you play a three-way game, and whoever to finish top of the group, you get straight into the final. We played Portugal in the final, and me body, like, I think I let the team down that night. I'll be honest with you, I felt like I couldn't.
In the final?
Yeah, I just couldn't get the grips with the game. Like, usually I would try and, like, the control game, I couldn't get the grips with that game. Lost 2-1.
Do you think you were prone to little injuries, or do you think the likes of recovery and your attitude?
It sounds like it's muscle breakdown there more than that else.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Do you think like not recovering after games, stretching and looking after yourself kind of done that to you, or do you think you were injury prone?
100% not looking after myself. It was all down to like everything, like your body. It's like mechanics. If you don't look after yourself, you're going to break down.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And that's that just happened throughout years. I had an injury when I was 12, me hip flexor, and then hamstring injuries. I had 2 of them, and so the body was breaking down as it happened. Like,
how old are you now at this stage?
25, I think 26.
Still young.
But I felt that
30 odd.
I was finishing up there, but my injuries were in bits. I remember though after the final, the FEI didn't book us a flight. They thought we were going to get knocked out, I think. So there was like 3 or 4 days left, and we went on the gargle for the whole lot of it. And we had the 2 Tipperary lads beside us, Higgy and Brian. I probably shouldn't say this, but let's have it.
This is what it's about, isn't it?
No one's going to listen to this anyway.
Careers and stuff.
Let's have it. But Basically, they called me in one day, Barbour, come in. Looked in, the boys had the bathtub filled full of gargle, yeah.
It's brilliant.
Just drinking out of the bathtub. But the last night, so we were all on the gargles throughout the whole night. I think myself, Lacey, Whelan, I don't want to put the boys in it, but myself, Lacey, Whelan, the two Tipperary lads were out, and we were sitting on the sand, like, because our hotel was on a beach. We saw the tractor. I think it was like egged them on. Like, you don't know about tractors. He said, "Why show you, Barbour?" So the fisherman that had the tractor, he's gone off somewhere. Yeah, I don't know which one of them was, but over started up and all. I was on the back of the tractor, stripped naked, whipping me top around. Yeah, but I think we end up crashing the tractor or whatever. But I forget about, like, I woke up late the next morning or something like that. And to be fair to Jerry Smith, like, he didn't really say anything to us. Like, but that's his good management style. Yeah. He'd probably say it to you in a way to say, I want more out of you. But he was a great manager. As
a lot of the lads who we spoke to, they all said that about Jerry Smith. They said when they came out of the time of after playing the internationals, they went, gee, he was a hell of a manager.
Yeah, no, like, I remember my dad talking about him when he was with Yannick Boys. Why don't with Yannick Boys? Like, I think he won the juniors and all. Mick Foley had him under 20 World Cup, played against Iniesta and all.
For Ireland, Jerry Smith was managing Ireland under 20s.
Right. And if you look,
I don't know anything about Jerry Smith outside of the international, junior internationals. I didn't know.
He was doing stuff like that. But then if you look at the amateurs, he's gone from Ireland being nowhere to winning it. And he's given up. So it just shows you his progression.
As you said that from the start, where he was only relying on the free kicks and set pieces into going and winning it. So it's brilliant.
With that team though, we had Conor Dillon was right back, Chalky, Ross Carrick, Ken Howie was unbelievable. Could play left or right,
left full,
and he was Jerry Smith's man. He was an animal of a player. Then I used to sit in the middle. I used to have Whelan, buddy beside me, Lardon, great player from Bangor, Danny Loughran, very good, excellent. He had technical ability, but he had a little bit of bite about
nastiness. Danny had right, one or two little things.
And he was a good little player. And then we have Davy Lacey, Davy O'Sullivan for some team. We used to have Adam Foley. Adam Foley still plays League of Ireland.
That's right.
Like loads on the bench, like, you know what I mean. But it was some team that was. We should have won it. I think I let the team down in the final. I'll be honest with you. And it kind of got to me after. I thought to myself, that's it, I'm done.
That's about the fifth time it's saying you're done with football.
That's what I'm saying. That's how my mentality was. And
you struggled a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Listening to you, you sound like.
And for someone like, obviously, as I said, watching you play, as you look a free board out there and a free spirit going and playing, but obviously you're bringing everything off the pitch with you. Like, cause
Robbie used to say that to me all the time. Whenever I lost at Tallaght, I used to go berserk. And like, he never turned around and said, well, you were going out the night before. Yeah. Just when I lost, I hated losing. It was like, I hate losing anything, like, you know what I mean? And when I lost that final, I thought that's me finished. But my body broke down after that. I think I tried to play for Mount View, and then I think I was going to a chiropractor physio every week. Only for a lad, the physio off the Ireland team, he gave me a load of sessions. Like, my body was gone, like my whole pelvis. I actually remember, and this is a true story, went to Alan Bourne, is it?
Who's the Irish physio, Alan Bourne.
He brought me to the Kappa Hospital, and I was there with a rugby player. And so I went in through all the tests and all, and the fella comes out and says, are you sure you're not the rugby player? And I was like, no. He says, it looks like you've been in a car crash, the whole body.
You're smashed.
And I tell you what helped me. Chiropractor, physios and all, I was doing everything. I got a back brace. And I put a back brace on, and I played with that for a year. Like,
so out of the course, just that,
yeah. Just to try and play. You know what I mean? I couldn't even put on my socks. She used to help me put on my socks before I work. Disaster trying to walk and do that, and in my head I'm thinking, it's not worth it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And all the way down the line, you're probably saying, I'm going to finish playing football, my body's giving me.
That's every year.
When you think of it all now, it boils down to you not recovering enough, not preparing enough, not caring, more or less not caring.
100%.
For someone to have your ability, and to not care, like, it's a bit upsetting for you. Do you know what I mean?
It's a bit bad mentality, isn't it? Like,
it is, so, yeah. But you strike me as a strong-minded person.
I am. I'll be honest. I know I am, but I can
certain things.
I can say to myself,
bring you down.
There.
Yeah.
Now, and I think to myself, I look back now and say, you should have changed. And like, I do have a lot of regrets, but overall I don't.
But say,
Overall I have memories.
hindsight's a fucking a bastard thing, isn't it? Like, so looking back in hindsight,
But
you
you
could
were
have
saying
changed things.
similar, were you, Nelson?
Yeah.
Like you were saying that you played a few years and you just thought.
But I had a good schoolboys and I had a good 2-3 years.
And what did you think? Like,
well, the same things as you said. I was lying on one of the podcasts there because I said I used to never drink before games, but I said I used to go drinking on the Friday, but match Sunday. But yeah, just a bit more dedication for myself. But when I was on the pitch, I was dedicated as anyone.
Yeah.
Is it being similar? Is it give it or all?
Yeah, but then I as I said, I never went on one, and similar to yourself. There, obviously you won a couple of cups here and there,
but you're well renowned. Like all the lads. Like I have to ask you a question, right? Where's Nelson from? One of the lads asked me, say, look, I was saying, I played with Nelson. Never told me this.
It was actually
because it's Liam Tiernan.
Yeah. You know, it was actually Liam Donnelly actually gave it to me. I went to Australia as a kid and I was about 11 or 12, so I came back.
Yeah.
I was bleeding, shaved head. It was like about 8 stone, and it was highly tanned.
Completely different now.
Highly tanned. So Liam Donnelly goes, "There's Nelson Mandela."
Yeah.
I think I went out that game you playing against Belgium in a friendly, and Sim McLean ended up knocking him out with bleeding 2 of his heads. Yeah,
is that what it was? Yeah.
Stuck like.
So if coaches and managers and all used to think his name was Liam Nelson.
Yeah, so one of the lads, like, because I was telling them that,
because people would say, who's Liam Tiernan?
Yeah.
But they know who Nelson is.
Yeah. You were reading something yesterday, he kept saying Liam Tiernan. I was like, who's this guy?
Even you, but yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's where it came from, really. But I kind of went by the wayside to a certain extent. There's only actually when I got older, I came back playing for Things United. The lads came from 19s. I think I was playing with them. I actually started getting back a bit of a bite about football again because I went to Griffith Rovers in 2014 or something just to get me hunger back.
Yeah.
Then I was bouncing team to team.
Rovers, did you?
Yeah, just I
always thought you were a West. Like I
should have went around Killester and something.
Yeah.
But I always came back to Mellows and everything else, but I was still doing the same thing though.
Do you wish that we just stayed together?
Yeah, I wish we all stayed together.
Yeah, it would have been much better, wouldn't it?
Definitely.
That's one of the regrets I have. That we didn't stay together and we didn't encourage each other to go and try and progress more. Like, I know Sheriff, and I'm not taking anything away from Sheriff, I just do think that if we would have stayed together as a team, we could have been... that's dreaming though as well.
Yeah, no, it is, but you know what? It's kind of it's good to dream though. Do you know what I mean? At times, it's good to reflect back. And Davy Kane explained it greatly in the podcast we've done with him, and a few people have touched out to us in private mails and all that. Davy mentioned that, and you could title it as that time. Davy was always getting back to memories where he was saying that time. Do you know what I mean? So it's bringing you back. So when we're here even today, it brings you back to when we all kind of played again. You're saying that time.
Big time.
It brings you back.
Big time.
But
and it's a great time.
It's a great time.
I know you're saying about me mentality. I used to love it though.
Yeah.
I used to love playing for West.
I love
think as well
you know
that,
but you give it all though, Jimmy.
I think as well that if we did all had it stuck together instead with West, we would have kind of nearly mirrored Sheriff, because that's what they done. They all stuck together.
Because you won the Leinster Junior, did it? Yeah. So I thought I was playing at Tallaght at that time because you played in Frank Cook. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I should be playing there.
Should have stayed there.
I should be playing with.
But he was saying the same thing though. He was saying he was on the sideline looking in. Like,
I was playing for the Valley at the time.
And he was saying,
I wanted to be playing for them.
You know? That's what made me sign back for Wefta was that game. I should be with all my friends there playing. You
could have kicked on and won a lot more. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so with Mountfield though, I was playing with my mates, so it was great. And you know what? As us Mountfield lads, we'd never give each other the credit we're due. We went from Division 1 all the way up to Premier A.
Premier A, that's right.
And the only thing I can say about our team, right? We had 2 great people in charge who were Willie and Wardy, but we were organised chaos. We were chaos. Like, we used to have, say, Harmo and this fag at a halfway line and all. Like, we probably didn't have 11 players most games, dragging people up everywhere, and just playing. But we got from Division 1A to Premier A.
That's the quality that he's had, that he was ready to go and do that.
100%.
You start dropping back to centre half and everything. Then,
playing all over the place. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was. It was terrific times, and we got to finals. We played Sheriff in a Miles O'Neill final, and again I messed up. I crossed the line, as in I was we were 2-0 up and we passed them. We had the beating of them that day, and I know we had the beating of them. And Tranna Mitchell, my old mate from Merrion, they scored one and I had a yellow card. And he touched the ball, and Tranna was so smart, he touched the ball out a little bit further, and I thought I have a chance here to nick him. I was playing up top at the time, and I ran, and he left his left leg lying vertical. And it was a yellow card, it was a red card after it, and I hit him. And, you know, trying to find the thing, and I got sent off. They came back 2-2, didn't they? Disaster. I think it was 2-0 when I got sent off, 2-2.
They end up beating us then?
Penalties. And it would have been great for Mountfield to say that, beat Sheriff and all in the final, but I loved Mountfield. Mountfield was one, like, my team, like, you know what I mean? Loved all the lads there. It was great.
Brilliant.
But when they go to Premier A, we didn't do too well. Obviously, we got relegated. I just felt like it was time, and I went over to Collinstown then. And Collinstown were the team competing with Sheriff at the time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I went over there.
How did that move materialise for you?
I kind of knew Anto, McCormick, Dino and all, so then I went over and met up with Kev, Carroll and Patter, and they spoke to me like they wanted a community club. They wanted
That's
to be...
what they are.
That's what they are, community based,
club,
yeah.
Collinstown, yeah.
And they wanted to be like Neilstown Rangers, who won the FEI Junior, but I think they went over and beyond Neilstown Rangers. We beat Shamrock Rovers. We beat Bray.
Some team back then, yeah.
Yeah, I was serious. We beat Sheriff in the Leinster Junior. Now, I didn't really play a massive part, and that's one of the other regrets that I had, where I would have liked him to be fit and playing well for Kev, because another great manager, he put his hand around us, and I loved playing for Kev, like, you know what I mean? Castle was coach.
Castle's there, yeah.
Yeah, Castle was unbelievable coach.
Brilliant.
He had us playing some football, like, you know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
And I thought he was a step above where he was.
Yeah.
Like, he used to say, okay, knock it in, and you knock it to the sides, like. So you had to play out from the back with Castle. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Plays the right way.
That's where you ended up though.
That's where it all ended.
that's where it kind of all ended. I played for Harstown for a few months. Great lads down there. And then I went to over 35s, but the body school gave up, like, you know.
Yeah.
That's me finished up then.
Done dusted then.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
we move into our questions there that we usually have.
Oh, jeez, that hard.
No, they're not too hard.
Did you pass the junior set?
I don't know.
What's that? Git, what was your best manager?
Kev and Castle great. Welly, Wally were great. But I have to say Limo and Robbie O'Reilly, they brought me through senior football, so I'm gonna have to say them. They were brilliant. Like,
two good men, yeah.
Any regrets?
Yeah, loads. Yeah,
You
but
mentioned
overall,
a few of them.
no. Love memories. Brilliant memories. And like, if you think about it, from the start, I didn't have to play like amateur football. I was not going to play it.
You didn't want to play.
I didn't want to play it, but look what I done.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we go into best player you played with.
Played with. Oh, this is a tough one. I didn't think about this when I thought you were going to ask me against. Best player I played with. I'm going to say Dino. Dino was a thoroughbred. He was like a Torres, Fernando Torres. That's the only way that
Dino got better as he got older.
Yeah. We played at school with us. He didn't even get in that much. It's only when he went senior.
David Lacey was class as well. His reactions to everything was
unbelievable reactions.
Like, he wasn't a great player, Lacey, and I don't know if he probably give out to me for saying that, but his reactions, like, if the ball went over your head, he's getting it.
Yeah,
if you have a bad touch, he's getting it.
Yeah.
Like, his reactions were like lightning. I mean, he was a great player. Like,
right, seeing is you asked that question. I'm going to give it to you now. Best player you played against.
I'm going to say this because I thought about this, and I'm going to rephrase the question as in respect, and I'm going to say Kramer of Crumlin. When Kramer played, like, Kramer just wanted to play football, and when I played against Kramer, I used to let Kramer have the ball, and I think he kind of let me have the ball.
Respect
it. If I get close to Kramer, he's just going to knock around me and just pass it.
So he said, I'll give you the chance.
So I thought anytime I played Kramer, I was just, I'm not, leave me brilliant. You know what I mean?
So we go best club.
Talca's brilliant. Unbelievable. The time that I had there, I don't know why I left. Money.
Yeah, at least you're honest.
What really fuck, like, you know what I mean? Money.
Your best friend in football,
Again, I'm going to say, like, I still have the exact same mates, like Mick Foley, Bubbles, Clarkey.
You mentioned them at the start.
Right, yeah, I still.
And you all still hang out together.
All together. They were all my best men at me winning and all, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, and so from 38 years of, they're still my friends and still talk about football, still go golfing with them and all. So I'm going to have to say all them, like, you know.
Yeah.
So we go favourite memory.
Scoring against Russia.
That goal?
Yeah. Or winning the Oscar trainer, because that was a big thing at the time. that was a massive thing. But no, scoring against Russia, I think. I love that because the banter that we had over there and the group that we had over there was...
Especially the 5-day piss up after, it was good.
The tractor man.
The tractor. The fish man with no tractor.
Yeah.
Here's a new one that we thought we'd throw in if you can think of any player that didn't fill their potential.
You didn't fill your potential.
Yeah, well...
no, but there's been loads. Been loads. Like, players had years where you thought, unbelievable. Mikaki only played for a few years. Like, as in, he was at the height and then he kind of dropped off a bit. He should have played to his further on that, you know what I mean?
Was there anything about that? Yes,
you.
Yeah.
Naylor came into it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, Naylor at the start wasn't as productive, but then he came in, he signed for Moxes.
Moxes and all, then he kicked on then, yeah.
Obviously, you know why he signed for Moxes, but you know what I mean? But yeah, Naylor like that, like, but there's been loads of players like that, like,
Going to go the way, so not.
Yeah. Just amateur football's like that, where you can have a couple of good years and then just go by the wayside, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was amateur football for you. Like, there's other priorities in life. Like, when I had my family, that's like, so family comes first, working comes second. Football always came third for me. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to put. Well, you're saying that my missus had the baby when I was Braga, but no. But honestly, I always thought to myself, my main priority is family. You know what I mean?
So we're going to walk into it. The best 11.
Yeah. So start off goalkeeper. Yeah. I'm going to give this fella a mention. Spud. You played against him.
Yeah.
Dinosaur.
Maybe,
Must be about 65 years of age. But the only problem...
He still looks the same.
I know.
Doesn't he?
The only
I
issue...
remember playing him against Cardiff.
Yeah.
Like, probably 20 years ago.
How good was he then?
He was decent.
Yeah, but he was better before that. My dad used to rant and rave like he's the best goalkeeper in Blanchardstown's ever created.
I've never seen him. We beat about 5 penalties against him. He saves every one of them.
Best penalty saver. When I played with Spud, the only problem when I played with Spud at Mountfield's was getting on a little bit. Yeah. So that's the only reason I can't pick him. Because I'm going to pick Morgan, and to put it in easy terms, Morgan was a professional playing an amateur game. Morgan was just Morgan Cranley. He trained like a pro, but he was a pro playing in an amateur game. Left back, again, I'm just going to... We used to have a lad, Buzz Bourne, and he was the most passionate player, enthusiastic player I've ever come across. Great, he was a great leader for Mountfield. When he crossed the white line, he was a madman. But off it, gentleman. But I'm going to go for Dino Carpenter. How good Dino Carpenter could do everything as a left back. He signed for Shamrock Rovers, I think, 1 year. But right, yeah. Dino could get up and down. He could tackle. He could head. He's proper player, like, you know what I mean.
Athletic as well, wasn't he? Fit.
Everything. He had everything as a left back. He could have played. He should have gone up.
He should have. Well, in fairness to him, what you said about Collinstown, and I think Dean Carpenter is at the heart of Collinstown, of a community club, yeah. And wherever Collinstown started,
it's a great club,
Dean is progressing that, and I think Dean is going to be there forever till the day he's not here. And he'll keep Collinstown going.
They actually put me in a group there as a supporters group. This is how
and a great community man as well.
Club they are. They kind of put all players in the community just to come out and support them and all if they can and all. It's one of them groups that they just get everybody around them. And it was great playing for them. It was great playing for them. You know what I mean? Like, had some terrific days with Collinstown. Captain centre half Bill McLean, unbelievable. Obviously I started off with Bill. And as I said, when a lot of football back then was kind of hookers and squeezers, Bill McLean gave me the ball every single time, and he put the confidence in me to play. And he would put his head anywhere. He was brilliant. Second centre half is going to be a bit of an unknown to certain people, but other people will definitely know why. Robert Cunningham of Mountfield, used to call him Lucio. You remember the Brazil centre half?
That's who was talking to you the other day about. Remember? At Lucio, yeah. I fucking can't remember his name.
I'll tell you about Cunny, right?
Very good, yes.
And this is an instance, say, if Cunny got the ball, like, and he got trapped in, say that they swarmed him, he still wouldn't kick the ball long. He just used it. He just wanted to play it properly all the time. Didn't probably get mad. He's like great guy and all, but he didn't get never, because he played for Mountfield. Probably he never got the recognition that he should have.
Probably because he played football as a centre half.
That's it. Would he have played for
100%? He could
play with Mountfield.
Yeah, he's like good guy. Like, you know what I mean. I like if he had a Bill McLean beside him, they would have been awesome. Like, you know what I mean. Right back, Milady. my old mate from Salamaris, Milidi's Milidi. They played him in centre midfield for Cabarrick. Milidi can play anywhere. He's like Dino on the right back, left.
Every game.
I've never seen him have a bad game. I'll give you a good one about Milidi though. We played the under-21s for the amateur team, and we played like in the midfield was say Hendricks, Cruthers, and John O'Sullivan. Now Brady didn't play on the left, but they had some other special talent out there, and they had someone on the right, and they kind of kept switching the ball quickly. But during the thing, I kind of reformed it, whereas I said to Milady, got 1-on-1 with him, and I think the left full was Howie or Higgy, and so that kind of freed us up in the middle because they only played one man. They kind of just played wingers, out and out wingers. Milady went 1-on-1 with this player who was supposed to be top. Milady destroyed him. And I thought to myself, he should be on this Irish team now. He didn't get on it. I was devastated for him. Devastated. But he destroyed that. That fella was I think he signed for something for €1 million or something like that. Milady destroyed him that day. You know what I mean? We just went 1-on-1. He just locked on. He just went 1-on-1. That's how good Milady was. And obviously playing throughout the Carbarrick days and all, it just showed you how good he was. I'm going to go with Diamond in the field. I'll put myself in the holding.
Yeah, good man.
Yeah. Left wing, Whelan. Probably one of the best amateur players ever. Right beside him, I'm going to put Richie Coates. Another fella that didn't fulfill his potential. Richie's problem was that he never probably showed up a lot of the time.
I thought that with Richie. I remember playing over the years against Richie, and he used to always say, "Geez, Richie Coates is a good player."
He used to drop by people, yeah.
And then he'd go missing. I wouldn't see who he'd play for a few years, and then he'd pop back up somewhere. And was like, "There's Richie with Malahide."
I used to bring him with Malahide, right? And the manager goes, "Oh, buzzing, game out again. Richie, you're coming out for a game?" No, I don't fancy it. But yeah, he played with us with Mountfield, and then he played with us with Collinstown, who he was brilliant with Collinstown. Brilliant with Collinstown, but he was very good. He had everything. Richie was a street player. He came from Whitestown, just very good. Like, and then in front of them, in the top of the diamond, I'm gonna go Crockett. Everybody, look what Crockett done with Malchus and all. Carl, like Crockett. Geez, yeah.
Can't say anymore.
He's in everyone's team.
He's unbelievable.
Everyone's team. Yeah.
I used to love his twists and turns. And then after the game, we used to say, "Oh, my back is killing me." I used to say, "Yeah, twist and turn like a dancer there, mate. You know what I mean? Obviously, your back is going to kill you." "Oh, yeah. I'll leave it out for a week of training. You lazy cunt. Get back again, will you?" Yeah, he's brilliant, Crockett. And he was a smart player. He was very good. Up top, again, I have to leave out this player, McCormick. I only played with McCormick for a short while at Collinstown, yeah. But he used to drop in. So when you used to play in between lines, Anto used to do that perfect. Used to just drop, get the ball. Like some defenders didn't know what they were doing, like, but Anto, he was a clever player. But I can't because I only played with him for a short time, so I have to go with Harmo.
Yeah.
And Harmo, again, another Mountfield player, didn't fulfill his potential. Harmo was so mad that he used to have a fag at half time, but he used to score 30 or 40 goals in the season. Harmo used to do things, and I used to think to myself, Harmo's one of those players that doesn't want to give it 100% just in case that he gets annoyed with himself. So you'd only give him 70 or 80. But he would produce moments. Do you remember the video out at Mellows where Harmo turns the ball at the side to keep my
saves? Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I was playing that game.
Yeah.
And the Harmo got sent off about 5 minutes later.
Yeah. So he turns at the edge and just whips it, and the keeper makes an unbelievable save. It was like
Glen Carney goal.
Unbelievable. Like Harmo used to do things like
we played him there about, I think it was 4 months ago for the 35s out in Mountfield, and he just ripped us to pieces. Absolutely ripped us to pieces. No, he said that because last time I played against him, he was injured. I goes, "You must have got your knee fixed, did you?" He goes, "Yeah," because you fucking didn't leave it alone all day again.
Harmo, like, he just played at that level, but he could have gone for like if he put his mind to it, which he didn't want to. I think he didn't want to try 100% just in case things didn't turn out right. I think he could have played better, like, you know what I mean. And then up top is Dino. I've never seen a player like what Dino done in 2010, and I knew Dino from younger all the way through. And I would never want to play against Dino.
No.
You know, imagine playing against Dino. He'd absolutely eat you.
Even in the air, just even in the air, he hangs in the air for ages, arms out and all.
Like, if I was playing with one man up top, I'd play with Dino.
Yeah.
All day long. I wouldn't, like, anybody. Dino would definitely be up there.
He would cause a back five
problems. Yeah, big time. That's the type of player that he was.
Very good. So
brilliant.
That's us. This one was looking forward. This one was, yeah.
Probably one of the funniest podcasts I've ever had. You get me a nice little giggle there.
well.
I have to say, thanks very much for that.